Yeah. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain revolution, here to stay. Yeah, Sam Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy on the channel to cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live on the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be awesome, guys, because everything is screaming bull run, guys. Everything is screaming bull run right now. We're about to have a massive, potentially 4 to 6 to 12 month bull run. A lot of people are saying, we're going to go until November. Some people are saying, hey, this might go to January, February. I'm actually in the camp that we're going to go all the way until May, sell in May and go away. That's kind of what I'm feeling, guys. But this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to make a lot of money. But you got to be smart. You got to be really, really smart, guys, because this is not easy. It's not going to be easy like it was last time. It's going to be a lot of different moving parts here. And you're already kind of seeing that. Right now, we like 2 weeks ago, we saw Bitcoin move. Yesterday, we saw ETH and XRP. And then today, we're kind of seeing Cardano and other stuff move. So it's kind of going, which is weird. XRP and ETH are kind of moving together, which goes Bitcoin, XRP, ETH, and then the large caps. We're kind of seeing that today. And then potentially small caps could be next week. Guys, there's a lot of opportunity in the market. You got to be very aware of what's going on and when to get in and when to hold and then when to get out. So nothing is easy. Nothing is easy, but everything will be there for you. Everything will be there for you to kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And we'll be there to guide you. We'll be there to guide you the entire way. We go live every single day for you guys, man. So let's get the show started. Bring our partner here as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up,
man? How you feeling today, bro?
I feel great. Yesterday was extremely exciting. You saw Ethereum make another kind of move following up its original kind of, strong move, right? Yesterday was very, very strong. It was a statement, in my opinion. I didn't expect it to really bust through 35 and 36 like it did. And like you mentioned, XRP had a really strong move up yesterday as well. It all kind of happened. It always happens when we're in a meeting. It happens when you and I are like, for the audience, we work outside of the show hours as well. We're constantly trying to make things better. We have partnership meetings, and the past couple of weeks, our meetings have been fun because the prices have been just like jumping up. And so that was exciting to see. A lot had to do with some of the announcements. Finally Congress got their act together, and it looks like the Genius Act is going to be on the desk today, signed at 2:30, I think, around there. Also some excitement around like retirement funds and crypto being involved with that. So look, you're right. Everything is pointing to one direction for alts and Bitcoin too. Remember, it's just taking a little bit of a break here, but a lot of people have it going up to 130, 150, pull back, and then possibly 200K plus to end the year. So this is what we all been waiting for. We've been preparing for this moment, and this is just the start.
Yeah, 100%. And like pre-show, we were kind of talking about like, imagine if we knew in 2021 what we knew today. And I don't mean like, it was going to be a bear market. I mean like the charts and everything, and how like, the Fed cutting rates or hiking rates, and the DXY getting some strength again, and the Bitcoin dominance. Imagine if we knew what we know now, right? It's crazy because there's so many charts, and let's just jump into a few of them here that are showing insane bull run, but we have to watch those same exact charts when it's time to get out, right? So all right, so this obviously, let's go to Colin here. Obviously we have the global M2 money supply. This right now is showing up, but when it's time to get out, it'll be showing down. But this is the one that we've seen. I mean, we're talking all the way back here when we first started looking at this thing.
Yeah, it's been really accurate, right? In my opinion, it really started late last year, maybe the beginning of Q4 is whenever other people, I think Virtual Bacon was one of the people that brought it up to me in my feed. And I was like, that's cool. I didn't pay too much attention to it. Then this year, as we started seeing more and more, just, I guess, posts about it, not a ton, but a little bit here. Colin Talks Crypto, obviously a big, account that uses this, we realized, hey, this is pretty spot on, right? And so we've been following it, and that's why we called mid-July to late July, early August for this explosion to happen, and this is where we are.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's other charts as well. So we got this one right here. This is a risk pattern that Colin's been doing, bearish megaphone pattern. So this is something that he's been kind of harping on with the DXY. So we need DXY to come down, as you can see. So I show you the chart that it breaks 95 and it's bull run. He's showing you the chart here when it hits this line right here. That's when the bull run is over. So another huge indicator. And right now, as you can see, we're basically here, which means we potentially have maybe a year of a bull run. And if we can kind of break down, as you can see, we did have a little bit of pull up, but if we can break down, but if we can get that rejection under 98, go back down to like 91, 92, again, huge sign that we're in a bull run.
Yeah. I mean, it's been the trend, right? The past 3 cycles. So it seems like it's time for that to happen again. Hopefully it does. But multiple different indicators and charts are just aligning, right? Lining up for what we're talking about, everything pointing towards this. And, the Congress coming together to give clarity, I think is going to be a big factor. We saw already what it could do once they got their act together yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. And then you have this chart right here. Basically inverse head and shoulders. It's been an entire year of this, and then we finally got it, and then it's saying 150. So three charts here by Colin, and then there's another one with the others 3, basically a cup and handle. I mean, every single chart right now is showing that we're about to enter a massive bull run, but usually people don't really realize you're in a bull run until the bull run's almost over. So the fact that we're kind of seeing it in the very early stages of ETH and XRP running, I mean, this is going to be a glorious time, guys.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why it pays to pay attention. We always say that, and we mean it. You got to pay attention every single day because, like you said, you can be, just going through your day to day and, oh, okay, crypto's up a little bit here and there. Next thing you know, a month later, you haven't really dove in too much and, you missed a lot of the window.
Yeah, 100%. So the big news from yesterday, obviously, was the bills. We'll get into them in a second. But the even bigger news was President Trump to open $9 trillion U.S. retirement market to crypto investments. Guys, starting probably in January is kind of what the rumor is. If he signs his executive order, you will be able to go into your 401k. You will be able to go into your Roth or your IRA or whatever, and you will be able to take crypto investments, Bitcoin, and not ETFs. It won't be the ETFs. You can actually get real Bitcoin into your retirement fund. Think about that for a second. Think about if you're like a 22, 23-year-old kid, you start every week, you start just putting your 401k into Bitcoin, into Ethereum. I mean, you could, be a, like, by the time you retire, you could actually have enough money to retire. Like, seriously, like serious money to retire.
Yeah, and these are like opportunities right now that I really hope the younger generations are listening to, because we've seen opportunities like this or similar in the past, right? Maybe like the .com era and stuff like that. And so if you're paying attention, if you zoom out, people say, well, Bitcoin hasn't been tested. It is now. Like, and I think almost everybody can agree that has been tested. 2009, you zoom out, it's up only. So with Bitcoin specifically, you could do that alone, but also, with these index funds that are going to come out, it's something like the S&P, but for our industry is something to really consider as well.
Yeah, 100%. And like those, those type of funds or stuff, they're all kind of insured, right? So if like you don't got to worry about like, your stuff getting hacked or anything happening, because like a lot of the times the Fed will insure those assets inside those funds, whether it's gold, whether it's Bitcoin. So that's another huge risk off. I mean, really is. I mean, you're not worried about anything. Your boss is just putting your $40-$80, whatever you choose, into that, and you just go live your life. You can be a normie, but in crypto for the very first time, and this is starting. So this is going to be absolutely huge, because if you think about, if 10% of people put their funds, that's 10%. That's over what? It's over $1 trillion almost. That's like $9 trillion. I mean, I'm sorry, $900 billion would go into crypto. It's going to be pretty nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for this. This is a huge step forward for mainstream adoption.
All right, let's get into the bills. So the U.S. officially passed the Genius Act. It's funny because they declined them, but then they were okay going one by one. Because they just didn't understand what was in each bill. They don't read these bills, and that's the funny part. They don't. They just they're
well, when there's like 4,000 pages.
Well, that's stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like why would you do that to yourselves? You do it to yourself. Like, you know what I mean? When you put these bills together and you have 2,000 pages, you do it to yourself. But you can also hide stuff inside.
Exactly. It's intentional.
Yeah. Well, that too. So the Genius Act was passed. Then right after that, the anti-CBDC, the U.S. will never be able to have a CBDC. And then the U.S. House officially passes the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act is basically, it's more of a understanding than anything else. It makes sure that banks and stuff have an understanding of what they can and can't do. Representative Tom Emmer says President Trump promised to make America the crypto capital of the world, and today we delivered. Trump plans to sign the Genius Act today at 2:30. White House says President Trump supports tax exemptions for small Bitcoin and crypto transactions as well. So this is just win after win after win right now. I mean, Trump's been president since January 20th. We're about 720, so we're about 6 months into his regime, and we have 3 of the biggest crypto bills that ever passed happen. And I mean, that's why you saw the run up yesterday.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And it took a while. They got it done at the last second, right? But it seems to be wrapping up here, so that's really, really exciting. I do expect a lot of the focus with the industry now to kind of either move back if they moved away from the U.S. because of how bad it was, or new businesses to really start to pop up, new entities and stuff. So we're gonna see something that you guys have never seen before in society happen, and that's, well, we've seen it maybe like the internet, but that was so subtle. I feel like this might not be as subtle because it's like been waiting for so long, and then now it's gonna pop in. Now I think day to day and stuff, everybody will start using it, and it will seem probably subtle to them because 5 years down the line they won't know how anything works, but they'll just use it.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's apps and stuff that make it easy, like the base app and stuff like that could actually make it easy for people, right?
Yeah, but I mean, my point that I'm making is that like it will be easy. They don't know the inner workings, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Exactly. Like no one can explain how the internet works from step one. I think that's how the adoption is going to happen here.
Yeah, 100%. Like when you go to your app and I send you money, I don't need to know if that's on crypto rails, right? I mean, it will be, but I don't need to know that. I just know that I sent you $20 or whatever, So I think you're right, 100%. They're not going to know that crypto is the technology behind everything eventually. OG Bitcoiner, the guy who's been selling down, the guy I think is out on back, with 80,000 BTC, has moved the remaining 40,000 worth 4.83 into Galaxy Digital. We do know that last time he sent 2 billion to Galaxy Digital dumped them on exchanges. Doesn't seem like Galaxy has dumped these yet. Does this worry you at all? Galaxy is
Yes.
sitting on $4 billion. Yeah.
It does worry me just because we'll see like immense sell pressure if it goes through, the non-OTC to where it'll hit the exchanges. I also think that these type of headlines are sometimes intentionally pushed into the circulation just to kind of pull Bitcoin back to get things cheaper as well. But yeah, I don't love continually hearing. I actually kind of hope this kind of goes away. As a headline, it just, we know that it's happened now. Probably maybe anticipate a little sell off.
Well, the markets are forward looking, right? So as long as when we can get past this, we can kind of move on. This has kind of been something. The reason why Bitcoin hasn't really moved up past 120 is because a lot of the market makers are waiting for this guy to be done selling. And it does seem like he's dumping down. We got to wait for Galaxy Digital to make their decision on what they're going to do with this Bitcoin, whether it's, try to find ways to, they got to get their $4 billion back that they gave this man, right? So they got to figure out, obviously they're going to try to make money on this. Last time was the rumor that they shorted the market and then dumped it. I don't think they can get away with it twice because people are kind of watching them now. So we'll see what Galaxy Digital decides to do with this. But this is all on-chain data at the end of the day. It wasn't like any news source came out with this. This is just, hey, this is what's happening on Bitcoin. Everything is right there for you, right? So
yeah, but I feel like it gets circulated though, right? And it can get extra push is what I'm trying to say. But at the end of the day, information is going to get out there. So
100%. The SEC considers innovation exemption for regulations to boost tokenization. This is coming from Chairman Paul Atkins, the SEC chairman, basically coming out and saying we need innovation exemptions. How big is this for companies now who, you can build now in crypto and not worry about getting arrested for building something decentralized?
Huge. There was a lot of friction because of that, right? So, that's a big deal, and I expect to see a lot of innovation. We're probably going to see a lot of those Silicon Valley guys start to pop up startups left and right, though. Be ready for that.
No, 100%.
We got a couple super chats in there.
Oh,
real quick.
shit.
Yeah, we got Stan. He sent 2 actually, and we appreciate you, man. You've been a huge supporter of the channel. He says, in the channel's opinion, what will Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classics relevance be moving forward with crypto's growing acceptance? Thanks. What do you think?
Tough question. I think they'll be considered like relics, right? They'll never ever go away. But they'll always be like, oh, they're the OG tokens, and people are going to hold them. But I don't know if you ever try to send an Ethereum Classic transaction, but there's no one mining it. So it took me 2 weeks to receive my my Ethereum Classic when I did a transaction over there. And Bitcoin Cash is super fast. A lot of people are still mining that. What they're doing is they're merge mining it. So when they're mining Bitcoin, they're also mining Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash is still super fast, and it could be used one day as like a Lightning Network type of environment someone could build there or fork it. I don't know. That's a really tough question, Stan. What do you think?
It is a tough question, but I kind of view those two style assets similarly to a less relevant like Litecoin style. Like what else do you do with it, right? You're not like Litecoin. You're not doing too much with Litecoin, right? You just kind of hold and it's a legacy type of token and stuff. Yeah, they have organizations, and I'm sure they have projects that are building, but no one's really using it, is my point. And so that's how I view them, except for less relevant. So they have a, they'll probably still stick around. The value will still stick around, and maybe number go up just because they've been around for so long.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then his other question is, as a crypto fanboy, should I care if the president draws pictures? Asking for a friend. If the president draws pictures,
what kind of pictures is he drawing?
Yeah.
That's what it depends upon. Is can you elaborate a little bit more? You don't have to send in another super chat, just a regular chat. Just elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by that.
So I'm taking it as like, if the president signs a bill, should he be excited? This is a massive bill. The Genius Act is one of the biggest bills to ever pass for crypto ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, we are allowed now to potentially pay your mortgage in USDC or USDT or whatever. You're going to be able. Banks are now able to accept payment for this. This will allow you to be on chain 24/7. This actually goes against banks. I mean, as long as you can, I can pay my mortgage and pay my phone bill in tokens. Then what do I need to go to a bank for? Like, what do I need to go to the bank for? As long as my payment goes through, I mean, I don't ever have to use my bank account ever again.
Yeah. I mean, you've been talking about that for a long time. Being able to use stable coins in your wallet and have like automatic payments come out of that. So it's going to be interesting to see how much adoption happens right away. I think there's there's a lot of interest in the stable coin market. So I guess in that case, you should care and be happy.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, it's innovation, dude. This allows for, think about this for a second. This will allow you to do anything you do day to day without leaving the chain, right? Especially right now, it's going to be on Ethereum, it's going to be Solana, USDC, and you're going to be able to go somewhere, and it's going to say choose your how do you want to pay. You can pick Ethereum and then USDC. A QR code will come up. You're going to click your phone and pay, right? I mean, Base has a really good thing now where it's one click. It's actually faster to use the Base app to pay for things than it is to use your credit card, because you seriously just go to your camera, you pick your phone up, and then you click the button. Like, that's it. Like, that's how this new Base app is. Like, you seriously scan the QR code, it says pay, and you pay. Like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I know Apple had the Apple Pay, but this is, I think more and more people probably use this. Especially, they're probably going to try to push this as like a universal thing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple is kind of restricted to Apple, right? And Google also has Google Play, but I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a hard push in terms of stuff like that, and then being able to pay with your stables and stuff.
Yeah.
So this bill is where it all starts.
100%. Get back to the news real quick. We'll definitely get to your question in a second, Alpha Gamer. 100%. SharpLink Gaming files for $5 billion share offering and plans to use proceeds to purchase more ETH. So this is the largest publicly traded company. I think the largest company, period. That they own the most Ethereum, and they're staking 99.7 of it. Pretty nuts, dude. This is a monster buy. This doubles the amount they hold.
Yeah, this is big, and I think they're starting to see some of the excitement happening with ETH, right? And
yeah,
you got to give them some kudos, because they were, that first big company that came into headlines that said, "Hey, we're taking this MicroStrategy approach for Ethereum, and we're going to do that. We believe in Ethereum. We think that this is going to be a strong asset. It's the number 2 asset in the class. Why not? It feels safe. There's multiple ways to earn." On your asset as well, not just holding it and appreciating the value. So man, they're really trying to win in the ETH market.
100%, dude, and they should. I mean, there's an opportunity there that no one's taking on. This is one of the biggest opportunities.
Well, Tom Lee's company's coming into play now a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. No, 100%. So there's a couple of them now that are coming on board, I mean, they own double the amount of Tom Lee, and they're about to double their supply. So. But we'll see. So we talk a lot of bullish stuff here. Let's get into a little bearish stuff. So, Benjamin Cowen is whenever I feel overly bullish, like I was feeling yesterday, I just go check Benjamin Cowen. Right. So just to make sure, right? So this is what he says. Benjamin Cowen, if you're not following Benjamin, give him a follow. He's not always bearish, but he has been lately. He said, once again, alt BTC pairs put in a low in June, similar to 2022, 23, and 2024. He said alt Bitcoin pairs put a low in June. So every June seems to be an alt Bitcoin low. He said, while I think ETH Bitcoin has bottomed for the cycle, I think there are decent odds that a collective alt BTC market goes lower by early Q4. This means liquidity should flow from altcoins back to Bitcoin. But again, this process could easily be several weeks away. This does not apply to every altcoin. Some alts like XRP showed their double bottom last year, and likely won't put in new lows on their Bitcoin pairs this cycle. What do you think about this? He's basically saying that we could go lower alt Bitcoin pairs in Q4, which a lot of people are saying, like, we're going to go the opposite way. We're going to hit all-time highs against Bitcoin.
Yeah, but we've talked about something a little similar. I think he might be more generalizing, specific, blue chips, right? Us, we said, we think that like the strong, proven blue chips will have their rise up, but then like some of these newer mid caps or micro caps are going to have a hard time just because the cycle is different. Bitcoin has been dominating so much, but you can hear in his tone a little bit with his post there that he's kind of conceded at, that Ethereum has reached that moment where it's probably going to get hyper aggressive. I think what he's saying is if you're hoping for that same alt season that we've seen the past couple of cycles, it might not look the same as it did, and that's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. Yeah, I'm thinking that too, but like I also think that like you can only be right for so long before your mindset just kind of you kind of get stuck in that and you kind of start thinking that you are smarter than the markets here. And he has been right, don't get me wrong, but I think that now I think he's going to be wrong here. I think that we're going to see an upward momentum here that's going to drive. I mean, everything's been held down so much, dude. It's like a spring. It's like a coiled up spring that just has to bounce. It has to. And for us to take another low, I mean, another altcoin against Bitcoin low, I mean, that would be pretty drastic unless Bitcoin just goes absolutely nuts and everything kind of rolls like not as fast. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know what to actually expect here, except for maybe some of the micro caps that like people are hoping for, like maybe like a 10,000x or something like that. Maybe be very careful on that side of things. But the mid caps that's shown, hey, we're building, we have a legitimate registered business, or we're doing this and that. Those I think will have a better shot. As opposed to 2021, whenever you on BSC, when you were launching meme after meme and a actual company, quote unquote, but wasn't, right? It was just really cash grabs. Those are going to be, I think, really hard to thrive.
Yeah, 100%. Stan says the president's being accused of drawing pics of women and sending them. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't want to get the channel flagged with some JE stuff. So we're gonna move along from that, buddy. All right, publicly traded dog treasury. So yesterday we talked about Doge getting it, but Dog actually had one before Doge did, and I didn't even think about that. So the company CB Blockchain is
C2 blockchain.
Okay. CBLO is the
gotcha.
ticker. So CB C2 blockchain. You're right. C2 blockchain. Live Treasury C2 Dog dot was it probably .com? Let me see. So it's C2 .com, and this is their site there. It's loading up. So these guys bought another 16 million dog yesterday, or 14 million dog. They now hold over $280,000 in dog. I mean, this is crazy to me. This is some degen public trading company here.
Yeah, it is. But they believe in the community, right? And I think they're utilizing this approach for probably some marketing, but also they believe that the community is so strong and, the community supports the asset. So, it makes sense, I guess. But again, this was before Doge got announced that they, a company had created one for Doge. So this is a strong statement for Dog, that a publicly traded company is doing this, and they're being very transparent about it. They're like, hey, you guys don't trust us that we're buying this? Check this out. Look at our site. This is our live holdings here, and they've spent $280,000, which I know in the very beginning it was only like 10K or something like that, but they've really stepped up and put their I guess like shown up here is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it says to our followers asking, yes, we're purchasing our dog treasury through Kraken. As a publicly traded company, CBLO, every buy is made transparently with corporate funds and tracked at c2dog.com, one dog at a time, the right way. So they're buying on Kraken. So that's pretty nuts. So so Kraken was that gate that opened for everybody. And C2 blockchain is one of the companies that is utilizing them. So pretty big.
Yeah.
All right. BlackRock files to add staking to its Ethereum ETF. So BlackRock is like 300 to 1 So they filed about 300 different ETFs and stuff like that, and they always pass. Only one time they were defeated, and it was some like loophole thing that they were trying to get pushed through, but didn't get pushed through. But it's almost certain now. BlackRock does not file to lose. That if their Ethereum ETF will have a staking within it, which means you can get a dividend of 6% or 4%, depending on what they choose to do, and you can actually earn by holding an ETF. It's pretty nuts.
I can't imagine that they're going to give 6% because they got to make their cut a little bit. But I do imagine that their book of business has trusted them with TradFi for so long that they're willing to give them 1%. And that 1% is going to add up big time, in terms of like another stream of revenue. So this is really smart that they're adding this, honestly. And so, yeah, so this is another company that's kind of coming out, shining the flashlight on, something that makes Ethereum like a solid asset to hold. And we really just looked over Ethereum so much, the past, I would say 12 months, because it wasn't number go up. And this kind of proves that number go up technology, because I guarantee you Ethereum gets to all-time high. Everybody's going to say Ethereum's the best thing ever again. Right. But when you look at the mechanism of how it works, man, it's solid. I mean, if you think about it, you go and stake your ETH, you earn 6%, was 5.5% now because there's more participants. But that's really solid because you expect the asset to appreciate anyways, right? So, you not only are you making, it's like compound interest without having to, put more in. It's going up and you're making like the percentage on it. And you can compound interest it, by the way. But so in that aspect, I think, man, ETH has a really big opportunity here. I was kind of shying away from the $19,000 targets for next year, but I don't know, man. The institutions love this, and why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and the one thing that like a lot of people are like not really understanding is what's going to happen when they decide to own the chain. And what do I mean by that? I mean 51%, 51% attack. I mean, they can. Ethereum is the L1 for every big company. I mean, we're talking about Base, we're talking about Robinhood, we're talking about Sony, and who knows who else is going to be an L2. What if BlackRock wants to own 51% of that and make sure that their chain of choice is safe? Right, they can do that. You can seriously buy up enough ETH to where you stake it all, and you control every aspect of governance on the Ethereum protocol. I mean, it's no longer centralized. It's not decentralized at that point because BlackRock will have full say, but at the same time, they're protecting their investment.
I just would think that there would be some mechanism to prevent that, right? I don't know what the foundation has.
Number go up. Too expensive to do.
Yeah, but not for them. If Michael Saylor can then they can keep it, acquire, if they do it early enough too.
That's it. That's the case. Mike Saylor only owns 4%, right? And he's been buying for 5 years. BlackRock, they have more money, but right now ETH is a $400 billion chain. And if they start buying up heavily, I mean, it's easily 8 billion. And then if it gets 2 trillion, they're gonna need $1 trillion. I mean, BlackRock's only a $9 trillion business, right? You're gonna have $1 trillion in ETH.
Only
that seems
they won't be that risky. That's
what I'm saying. But that's the only way for them to hold 51%. And as they're buying, everyone's gonna be looking like Vanguard is gonna be looking like all these other guys. Like, we don't want them to control it, so we're gonna go in. So that could be the ultimate catalyst to honestly send ETH to $60,000. Honestly, I'm not even joking. Like, you could see ETH at like $60,000, which is, potentially a 13-14x from where it's right now.
Yeah, I'm in the camp now for sure. I thought maybe 10,000 was something to look at, but now I'm thinking more for the cycle even.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so Barstool founder Dave Portnoy admits he sold XRP 2 weeks ago. Today, XRP is up.
Do you believe him? He's always in these situations, dude.
So I remember in I want to say about December of 2020, the Winklevi went to his house and talked him into buying $1 million worth of Bitcoin. At the time, Bitcoin's price was like $9,000. He bought it on Gemini, and 2 days later, he sold it all. at like 11. He made like a little bit of money on it. And then 4 months later, it was sitting at around 40,000. And he came out and he was like, I sold it 2 days after they left my house. And it's very similar to what just happened here. He came in, he bought XRP at like he said like $2, sold it at $2.40, and now it's at $3.66. He said he would have made over $8 million if he still held what he held 2 weeks ago.
That's the game. That's the game. But he's not someone that's, in need, I would say, right? So it would suck more for someone that's a normie that got in early or something and sold early.
Yeah, I know, but still though, $8 million is $8 million, bro. Like, if you have $8 million, he said, and he was in bed, and everyone's like XRP, and he's like, I don't hold it anymore. So like everyone was like congratulating him, and because of the huge jump, because he came out a few weeks ago and said he held XRP, and he was the leader of the XRP army, he said, and all this other shit, and then he sells it because his that's why you don't let people control what you do, because he said he would never sold it if his guy didn't come to him and say, hey, listen, like I don't think this. I think he said the reason he sold was because Circle. And Circle, they basically RLUSD wasn't going to be anything because Circle is going to help destroy it. But now the BNY Mellon thing changes everything. It changes everything for RLUSD. It is RLUSD on an Ethereum type of chain is going to be one of the leaders in the stablecoin game.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. The banking institutions are coming into the stablecoin game, so we're going to see how this is going to connect now with that relationship. But I get where he kind of was coming from. But what do you do though? You pay this guy to give you advice, right? I'm sure he was like on his payroll.
I'm firing the guy today though, right? XRP is the strongest coin. It's the strongest coin right now.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Dude, I'm somebody, I report the news, and it's not my opinion. It's facts, right? I mean, it's facts. XRP is the strongest coin.
I mean, it has looked very, very strong, and you have to remember like all the pent up demand, and it didn't get to thrive last cycle, and all these things, and so it makes sense that it's having a really strong push up.
100%. Let's get in that crypto fear and greed. So last week we're at a 67. Yesterday we're at 70. We're not much higher at all.
Really?
A little higher, but not much higher at all than that 70. Yeah.
72.
That's shocking you? Right there, 71. You should start giving me like a thing. You should be like 72, 73, or 71, 72, or something. Because you're always right there. You're right there. So yeah, how do you feel about this though?
I mean, I would think it would be a little bit higher than that. Yesterday it was crazy.
I thought so too. Yeah, I'm actually shocked by this.
Yeah, but again, I'm okay with it. If this is the true like rating, right? If this is the true gauge, I'm good with it, because then it means that like we got some more time, and that's what we 100%. Need. We need more time in these windows that we don't get to experience very often. And so again, it is the beginning. So I guess if you think about that, like, ETH did just first make its move. It feels so euphoric for ETH. Again, I'll say this because of we've been waiting forever, right, for it to get to this point. But if you think about the numbers, the actual unit value, 3,600, that's not really that impressive for ETH yet. Now the move yesterday was in the past couple of days, but I think people will start to get really excited. Maybe that gauge gets to 80 when ETH is at 4,500, or maybe even 90 at that point.
Yeah, no, 100%. Really exciting. Really, definitely, really exciting that we're only 71, because if we can kind of, I mean, ETH can be at 4,800, we can still be in the 80s. I mean, what does that tell you? That tells you ETH can go to 6,000-7,000.
I just wonder what the approach is going to be, though, right, with ETH, because Bitcoin has hit multiple all-time high after all-time high. You mentioned the pattern that ETH has had is it always hits its all-time high a little bit later, anyways. But my point is now that there's like all this focus on ETH, do they try to take it to an all-time high now, or do they try to push it, just up enough to get people interested again, and then cross it over a Q4 this year? What do you think?
Today, it feels like they're purposely selling Bitcoin down to buy up ETH, but ETH's not dropping. Now, what happens when Bitcoin has to reverse because of supply and demand? It just shows me that right now, I mean, what? Bitcoin's down to 117. And last time, like, Bitcoin was at 117 on like Tuesday, and ETH was like 2,800, 2,900.
Yeah.
It was struggling. Now ETH's at 35 and Bitcoin's the same place. It shows me that their strategy of selling Bitcoin down to buy ETH isn't
Is
working
happening.
anymore.
Oh, it's not working,
well,
is what you're saying?
like so they used to force Bitcoin down and were able to buy Ethereum cheaper. So now it's not working anymore. So it has to go the other way. I mean, Ethereum is going to be at 3,800 within the next 3 days, and it's going to be at 4,800 within the next 2 weeks. And
4,800.
48. That's what I said. No?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was
3,800
questioning.
next 2 days.
I was questioning you. I was like, okay, 4,800. So basically, you're saying it's going to be knocking on the all-time high door in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep, 2 weeks. It's going to be over there. 2 weeks is going to be the first week of August. I do see a pullback, very similar to what we've seen with Bitcoin. It goes up, touches the all-time high, gets kind of pushed back down. A lot of people have their selling point at the all-time high, right? And then it's going to take a few weeks after that, maybe September, and then you're going to see a ramping. I think you're going to see, $8,000 Ethereum in early September, maybe late September, and then October. I think you're going to see like $11,000 ETH, and then it's just going to slowly grind up to 18,000 by next May.
Woo, that'd be crazy. But I can't imagine if ETH is at like 15, 16, 17,000 though, if people aren't becoming like more risky. And we do see something a little bit crazy like we did last cycle, It might take till next year when Ethereum gets that high, but maybe it's going to be in different metas and different, narratives and stuff, but don't be shocked if next year's whenever we see that crazy casino that we're used to.
I mean, dude, you might see Ethereum at 32,000. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it could get pretty wacky. I mean, we're talking potentially this entire ecosystem. I mean, dude, we're getting laws right now that help crypto in so many different ways, and a lot of those laws are stuff that runs on the Ethereum blockchain. I mean, we're talking stablecoins. 90% of the stablecoins are going to run in an EVM environment, right? I mean, there is going to be that 10% that run on Solana and SVM, but we're talking Tron EVM, we're talking, BNB EVM, we're talking Ethereum EVM, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Coinbase, right? Like, that's all EVM at the end of the day, right? And so EVM is easily bridgeable from EVM to EVM. So those coins can easily come into Ethereum and come off Ethereum, and it's going to get pretty wild. It's going to get pretty wild. And a lot of those chains, think about it too. Abstract, the gas token is Ethereum. Base, the gas token is Ethereum. Robinhood chain, the gas token is said to be Ethereum, right? Arbitrum, it's ETH, right? Optimism, it's ETH. Like, all these chains, their gas token is Ethereum. So they all need Ethereum. Like, I don't know. I just see that it's an easy W for ETH right now.
Yeah.
Well, let's
real quick, one last statement I want to say, or a question actually, is kind of a question and a statement, is I wonder what the approach is going to be for these companies and stuff to try to get all the TVL on their chain, right? Because you get the TVL on your chain, you're doing more transactions, you earn more fees, or there's businesses there that are trying to attract too. That's going to be something to look out for next year as, corporations and stuff start to pile in.
You know what I'm hearing, dude? I'm hearing digital collectibles. They're going to entice you to coming on their chain to get an OG tag, right? Imagine getting an OG tag from Robinhood saying like, hey, this person is an early adopter. And then potentially, instead of like letting you stake or something, just holding one of these NFTs could earn you fees from the chain. Like, that's the stuff I'm hearing. I'm hearing that digital collectibles are going to be very, very big because of the fact that they're different than stock, right? It's something completely different than holding stock or staking your tokens. They want to get away from the security aspect of a lot of things. How do they do that with digital art? And they, let's just say potentially by holding this digital art, and they're gonna hold it, a lot of them themselves, right? And then sell them and buy them back and stuff like that. So digital art could be something really big, and it might not be digital art. It might just be a picture of Bank of America and saying, hey, you were an early adopter of on-chain Bank of America. So I don't know, dude. I think it's about to get crazy. I think they're going to come up with a lot of really cool ideas that we've already seen, but that are new to them.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artura. Bitcoin and crypto price action brought to you guys by Artura. So Artura, these guys are going live, guys. We're hearing that it's probably going to be very, 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 very soon. Very soon. really excited for these guys because we've been messing around over there. We have the password to kind of start using that leverage trading platform. You guys won't need it very soon. They're going to go live, and I highly recommend when you guys are over there on Botonics, you're on Bitcoin L2, you're earning the incentivized Bitcoin from Botonics. But not only that, you're only going to have a few weeks to get this Artura points, guys. You have an opportunity to go over to Artura.finance probably early next week, and you guys will have the opportunity to go over there, start using it. You have their vaults. You can take low leverage, low dollars, and just start stacking up points. Get your P&L high. Mess around. You know what I mean? There's no reason for you guys to skip this because it's the free money. Free money, guys. Definitely want to check out Artura.finance. Go to it today and be ready for when they open up. You definitely want to be the first one. We're actually going to do a tutorial video on how to get started with Botonics and Artura, and then I'll be out tonight. So if you want to get involved, definitely watch that video so you guys can be one of the first people over there.
Absolutely. And they're going to be announcing some big things today. So make sure you're following them on X at Artura Finance. It's at Artura Finance. But let's get in some Bitcoin price action. Before we get into that, help us out. Smash that like for us, guys. It helps us with the algorithm, I believe. Sub to the channel so you know when we're going live as well, and then also turn your notifications on. That'll help you out. And then on the X side, share the space. Let's get it going. Same thing on Abstract. We appreciate all your help there, guys. Let's jump into some price action, which looks a little bloody on the 1 hour for Bitcoin. At least you can see there's been some sideways with uptrend, and then it looks like maybe they're trying to reverse that, right? It's interesting because yesterday when we were watching all that news happen late yesterday evening, Bitcoin did respond to it pretty well. I would say it got to like 120,900 was kind of that top, and then you saw it really flow into alts. And so it did retrace all the gains though. And so we've been in this uptrend since Tuesday, and then all the gains came back down, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So the MACD looks like it wants to bleed out continuously. You can see on the hour chart. The hour will give us about a 2, 4, 6, 8 hour forecast. So let's see what happens here. The stochastics, still pointing down. But remember, the alts, ETH and stuff is starting to do its own thing. So let's see if it really, fully detaches. As long as there isn't an aggressive bleed out. Like, Bitcoin going to like 13,000. I think ETH will be fine, but we'll see. So I'm expecting probably some chop with the downtrend for today. Maybe we get back to 117,000. Maybe we get to high 116, mid 116. We'll see. The 4 hour chart kind of, just starting that sell pressure, but a little interesting because we had a lot of sell pressure here with Bitcoin and barely any buy pressure. So maybe that 230 event signing the Genius act, right? The stablecoin act reverses things. I'm not sure, but for us to not really get any momentum on the buy side on the 4 hours, a little odd before we start another sell pressure. So I would be a little bit patient. Let's be a little bit patient on Bitcoin today, see what happens, and maybe even the alt markets. The alt market's kind of bleeding a little bit right now. But yeah, so the weekend, we'll see what happens for the rest of today. Saturday's pretty much a nothing burger anyways. It's going to be back and forth trading, but Sunday evenings, typically when something big happens, I actually expect alts, unless some bad news comes into play, I expect alts to really rally on Sunday evening. Okay, let's take a look here at the daily. Daily looks like it's starting to close up a little bit, get a little exhausted, but we've been here for a while, right? So are we doing a bull flag? I think so, actually. I think we are heading into Q3, Q4. So I think we, possibly have a bull flag here. Let's see if that matches up with the weekly. Weekly looks amazing. Weekly looks amazing here. You can see the setup looks really great. MACD looks strong. Stochastics looks strong. This trend looks very strong. It looks really good. And I can't imagine it just completely dumping before the end of the year. So I think we're looking good, guys. Taking a look at some alts here on the crypto bubbles. Pump, stay away from that token. I've been warning all of my friends about that. Pump was a dump. Basically, I feel like that's another extraction attempt by the leadership over there, is my personal opinion. Nothing on the show here. It's just me. But again, I feel like they tricked people. They launched it, or they did the raise. Everybody's like, okay, cool, this is not too bad. Dump happens. They're like, oh my god, what happens? They use $30 million of their fees to pour into it to pump it back up. Everyone's like, oh, I was wrong. Going back and forth, only to give us a 20% retracement 2 days later. Oh my god, just Yeah,
You called that too. I mean, I remember I was like, dude, this is just, just traders taking profit. They all took profit. I mean, everyone who got in at 4 billion, they all took profit.
Yeah, they took profit, and so did probably some of the people that got airdrops. A lot of them probably.
Yeah.
All right, some other notables here. Fartcoin did have a couple really great days, and it did pull back.
9%.
It was
Wow.
Yeah, it pulled back 9.5%, but that was because I think yesterday it was like ranging between 12 and 16% up. So it did pull back. Honestly, I like seeing Fartcoin down 9, now 7.5%, because Fartcoin is a fun coin to trade. And when you see it down, it doesn't stay down forever, unlike this guy up here. But yeah, so some other memes here in the top 100. You got Dog with Hat down 4.2%. Bonk retraced back 8.5%. Hyper Liquid still not really thriving huge, down a 4.8%. But I do think there will be a moment in time where this starts to really take off and thrive. Let's take a look at some utility tokens. Uniswap up 15.9%. Big move statement there. HBAR up 8.7%. AVAX up 4.7%. Lido up 4.8%. You got Doge, back to the meme here, down 11.3%. So Doge Army, you guys got that. Pengu, which had a great week last week, is down 2.3% on the day. SPX, been another strong Solana meme, is down 4.7%. Going back to utility here, Radium down 4.1%. ICP up 3.4%. Chainlink up 4.9%. XDC, that ISO 222, up 5.3%. ADA Cardano up 2.3%. Where is XRP? It should have a huge number here.
Far left, 4.2%.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of a pullback, but that was because it was up about 14%.
Yeah.
And the times, with crypto bubbles, kind of threw that off a little bit. Ethereum up 4.1%. Trump up 2%. Immutable X up 6.6%. Crow, Crypto.com up 5.1%. Near Protocol up 1%. Shiba Inu up 2.9%. All right, let's go to the top 200.
Hold real quick though.
right.
What do you notice there that's up?
Let me see.
It's really simple. It's
Optimism
Lido and Uni.
Okay.
Well, Lido and Uni, right? What are they? We talked about it yesterday. They're
DeFi, staking.
DeFi is the strongest unit. We are almost in a DeFi summer right now. You had Convex up 20% over the last couple days, and then yesterday you had a Curve. Today you have Uniswap and Lido. I mean, if this isn't like I expected this, right? But you're seeing Ethereum DeFi, the OGs really coming out right now, which is exciting.
Yep. There were signs, is what we will say, in terms of DeFi having its boom back coming up. Let's look at the top 200. Pulse X is up 18.6%. When is Richard Hart coming back? That is the question. Maybe he is back. Hex is up 25.3%. What else we got here? Mog, let's go jump over to the memes here in the top 200. Mog down 6.1%. Popcat down 8%. Snek up again 2 days in a row, up 6.5%. Shout out to the Snek community, the Cardano's #1 meme coin over there. Sun is up 1.8%, and I imagine this is the token for the Sun lending and borrowing protocol that's on Tron. So we know something that's happening there now. We researched that yesterday. So that was actually, we needed to do that probably before that, but that's cool. Sure. What else do we see here? Pulse is up 5.5%. Peanuts down 2.4%. Batoshi, I said this yesterday. Bitcoin Satoshi's vision up 1.1%. Shout out Jack Liu. He loves that coin to death. Who else is there? Kato is pulling back 4.6%. Dog Go to the Moon, very small here, barely down 0.3%. So not too bad, but need to see that in the green. ApeCoin up 2.4%. And shout out to our guy, Courtney Johnson, because he has a bag of this, I believe. ZBCN pulled back up 9.9%, and that will wrap up the top 200 crypto bubbles.
Yeah, man, 100%. Let's jump into your comments here. So every day we track that first comment of the day, and that first comment is Lackey Lukey. I should have expected you, my friend. I should have expected it. So let's actually show you my chart here. Add the stage, dropping down to the bottom, and Lackey Lukey finishes the week up. It should just call this a Lackey Lukey Webdro chart at this point. Lackey Lukey. And it was funny. He puts in the comments, he's like, I do watch. I just watch late. I guess he saw us talking about it, about if he watches or not. And he said he does watch. But shout out to him. Number 38 on the year. Congratulations to you. But let's jump into the comments here. Lucky Luke was that first comment. WebDraw wasn't far after, about 7 minutes later. Tim Baker's here. Shout out to Tim Bake. 1+ ad is here. Chota Satoshi is here. Shout out to Chota every single day, buddy. Hydro Sapiens says GM. OnChain Revolution is the alpha show. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, bro. I really do. Lucky Lukey, man. Absolutely. Again, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. Let's effing go, my friend. Malam Yuri, the Bulls are definitely here now. Super pumped. Yes. Merlin Chain. Merlin's lucky says Merle strong, baby. Merle is strong. It's sitting around almost right on the 12 cents. I'm really excited for that token to get back to 15 and 20 cents. Lucky Lukey is back. Again, Bitcoin Truth is here. Abstract, Chips and Dip, my guy. Spindrift is here. Vader Time is here. Roll Call, I'm here. Chief Axel, man, really appreciate you. Alpha Gamer, shout out to Alpha Gamer, man. Missed you in the chat yesterday for Ordinal Hive. He said, yo, what's up, guys? I didn't have time to join the Hive yesterday, but remember that TAOX I told you about yesterday, it's up 17% in day one. It's a stock where they think, well, there's a stock that they think is 77% a year. They sit where they think 7% is a great year. Yeah. I mean, TALX. I mean, I would love a stock that has TAL. I haven't looked into it yet, but definitely will. And then he says the question will become, what will the fees be like to buy Bitcoin directly to your 401k? I can see a big rotation from spot ETFs into if the fees are lower than ETFs. I mean, yeah,
they'll compete.
Yeah.
They'll compete though. Like the spot ETF people will not try to lose all their business.
Yeah.
Or they'll just add that product offering to their portfolio or their product suite or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there might be, a 401k company that does everything in stables, right? Especially when Robinhood comes online with their stocks and they're buying bonds and stocks and everything on chain, to where it's going to be a lot cheaper potentially in the future for these 401k companies to kind of remove the middleman, right? And just buy everything on chain. And you might see something like that. I don't know how. I'm probably talking like 5-10 years in the future, but still. Toast is your shout to Toast, man. We're gonna put your video out on Monday. Can't wait for that one. Alpha Traded Group, guys, definitely want to check that video out when it drops. No is here. GM, beautiful people with GM. No. Stan says the president. Okay, I've read that one already. Max says dog. Carl G is here. So I'm not sure that the two previous cycles are enough of a confidence in a pattern. I don't know, man. What is it? It's like,
well, I think are you speaking about DeFi specifically, or because you look at 2017, 2021, the similarities that were in the previous cycle of 2013 were that there was still an altcoin market, though. Like, people were still buying Litecoin, people were still buying these other coins that a lot of them didn't survive. So I think that's where the pattern is. Unless you're talking about something else specifically, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, 100%. Stan says, any opinion on the new base app and its possible impact for ETH? Yeah, I mean, it's changing the game, man. I mean, there's so much there. We're gonna dig into that. We're gonna do an episode kind of digging into the base app. I'll put it on my PC and we kind of dig into it. Matt says, smash the like. Stan says, is there any way to calculate companies buying large chunks of ETH and price appreciation? Michael, Sarah, and Tom Lee seem to know something, many don't.
Well, I think that they know that, like, first there's a rotation, and then I think some people maybe lost faith on that for a little bit, but they I think they kind of are pushing that rotation, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like, okay, guys, like this is the next opportunity. This is how it goes. But the just the fact that there's so many attractive attributes to ETH in terms of earning, and then the institutions just putting all their brands within that tech stack.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Stan says, is Gavin Wood hiding in the same island of charge? So Gavin Wood is about to drop Jam. Jam is his upgrade. Think of it as an upgraded EVM. Gavin Wood created EVM. He is the solo code writer for EVM. He created EVM, and he's creating this jam type of thing that's going to change Polkadot forever. I mean, it was supposed to be out in June. It is now July, and we still haven't seen it. So I'm going to keep looking for that. But Gavin Wood, he's apparently building something truly special, and we'll see if he can first off. So we'll see. Alpha Gamer says contentious part of the Genius bill to some crypto users is a section that bans stablecoin issuers, both foreign and regulated under U.S. law, from giving holders and users interest on yield. Yeah, they're not allowed to, but that's huge for DeFi projects. So now they have to go on chain and use decentralized products. So I actually love that. I think that's actually super bullish, because now the banks can't give you yield on your token. So the banks are going to go and find yield for themselves, and they're going to put a lot of that money in stuff like Aave and stuff like MakerDAO and stuff like some of the battle tested proven DeFi projects. And they might even fork them themselves and create their own and have a separate company so where they can earn that yield. They'll get their yield. Believe me, it just won't be with the company itself.
I think the banking institution actually pushed for this. That Genius bill was very pushed in there. They wanted to make sure that got in there, and it's for amounts of 10 billion or less that you're managing.
Yeah.
So you got to think about from a banker's perspective. Walmart's announcing that they're going to be issuing their own stable coin. Companies that are huge companies that aren't banks, but what happens if they offer yield? You push the banking industry to zero, out in terms of you take their customers. At that point, you are, Walmart could be a bank and hold all these customers funds and all these things, and you're just basically. So I think this was a push by them, in my opinion. Maybe I'm reading it incorrectly, or that's what I think, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think there's a lot of. What do you think about them using DeFi?
Well, that's the thing too, is that Walmart could easily team up with a third party, right? Technically, and say, hey, this is our preferred staker or whatever for our token. I don't know what other stipulations and stuff that they put into the regulation, but definitely want to do a deep dive, and I'll just have ChatGPT kind of tell me, hey, go over the Genius Act and tell me, is this there? Is that there?
Yeah, man, 100%. Let's finish this out. Anthony Paulino is here. Tuhaha is here. Adopted by Bitcoin. Shout out to you, my friend. I will get to your question in a few minutes. Erdrick is here. That's it. He said, I just heard about Bitcoin DeFi and ordinals, and I have $8,000. What should I buy? We're not going to tell you what to buy. But if you want Bitcoin DeFi, you're going to want to tune into our next segment here. And our next segment is with the great Raul from Fluid. Let's bring him up. Raul, welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well, man. It seems like we're in the first very beginning steps of possibly this aggressive push-up that we've been waiting for, right? Are you excited about that as a builder? Do you see the same things that we're seeing with that, or do you think it's too early to come to that conclusion?
No, absolutely. First of all, it was nice to wake up like that. I see that it keeps pushing, so hopefully it will continue like that. I keep seeing on Twitter feeds many DMs from people asking what's this, what's that, how does it work. So the onboarding process is going, and as you know, as builder, this makes us happier because it means more people are going to come and more people are going to use our products.
Yeah. Speaking of your products, we got about 265 people in here in our YouTube. If you look at the Google search engine, they're coming. That's another good sign, by the way. Could you explain just in a simple form of what Fluid Tokens is and what it offers, maybe the everyday crypto user?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, Fluid Tokens is a DeFi ecosystem that helps you to find financial opportunities in the blockchain space, in this case in Bitcoin, but also on other chains like Cardano and soon other more. And most important, it allows you to have this financial product without giving up the custody of your funds. So you are always in control and you can decide your strategy based on that. So you never give your money to Fluid. You're always under the control of your own funds.
Yeah, so it's a decentralized approach. And what people are used to in Web 2 is having a third party kind of controlling their money and stuff like that. But what you guys promote through your protocols is, hey, you custody it, we give you the tech stack and stuff, the protocol to be able to do that. And so that's awesome that you guys are doing that. You guys have been doing a lot on Bitcoin and Cardano. Would love to kind of hear some recent updates of what, you can start with Cardano. What's your most recent updates with Cardano that you guys have been doing?
So on Cardano, finally, we have received the audit that our new lending protocol is finally finished. So it's ready to go live on mainnet as soon as we finally test it on testnet. And it is huge. Like we received this more than 106 pages of the full audit. And this is because the protocol is actually huge. It allows you to do so many stuff. But most important, it means that the protocol was actually checked in a deep dive. Like it was not just a random reading of the smart contracts. Everything, all the possible interaction were checked. And this is because the security of the funds of the customer, of our users, is the first priority.
Love it, man. So what kind of changes are there? So right now, if you go to fluidtokens.com, I've been on there messing around, you got lending and stuff like that. Could you talk about the changes that are coming for the aspect of Cardano?
Yes, absolutely. So before, up to now, what you could do on Fluid Tokens was ask for a loan or provide some liquidity, mostly with NFTs. And if it was a fungible tokens, it was not so much customizable. So you said, I need a loan of this amount, and this is the bunch of tokens that is for my collateral. And then I had to wait for lenders to arrive. Now, instead, what happens is that the lenders can provide liquidity for how many tokens they wish. And the cool thing is that the liquidity is maximizing the opportunity because it can be available for some stable coins, from some fungible tokens. So the same liquidity is not locked and available only for one pair. It's available for many pair according to what the lender wants. And this means that also it's very efficient for the borrower side because me as borrower, I can finally go to Fluid and borrow using the tokens. I don't have to wait anymore for a lender to arrive. And it's immediately in one click, I get my liquidity and that's it, instant.
Wow, that's incredible. That really is incredible. So you guys are probably one of the top guys over on Cardano DeFi, correct? What is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yes, yes. We
Crazy.
are always innovating and bringing new stuff on the Cardano.
But wait, there's more, because you guys decided, hey, not only Cardano, over a year ago, you said, we are experienced UTXO developers. We're going to go and help the Bitcoin ecosystem build because they need help, which we did. And you guys have been just crushing it over here on the Bitcoin side. Let's get into some of the most recent stuff that you guys have focused on. So obviously you're known for the staking vaults, in my opinion, the first to offer retail staking vaults on Bitcoin layer 1. And most recently, you guys have really added some strong support for the Alkanes protocol. Could you get into Alkanes first, and then we can get over to the staking, because I think it will mesh well that way. So what are you guys doing with Alkanes?
So yes, first of all, we started to check out how was the Alkanes ecosystem, what was the technology behind it, and also the community. So what we found out was that Alkanes is not a new meta protocol from scratch, meaning that if you are already building with runes, upgrading your protocol to support Alkanes is not a big effort. So this is very important. You can use the same approach and libraries with just few tweaks and be able to manage both runes and Alkanes. And then we say, wait, but we already have tools and protocols for runes. So how difficult could be to integrate Alkanes? and it was not that difficult, luckily. And that's why, if you know, we released an airdrop tool for runes that allowed you to airdrop up to 1,000 users in one click. Well, now it works also for Alkanes. So if you want to airdrop Alkanes, there was no tool before, and now you can just go to Fluid Tokens to the section airdrop, and you can make an airdrop to your community in one click. And then it's important to say that the Alkanes part currently is only supported by Oil Wallet. And why this? Because Oil Wallet is the only one that shows you the balance of the Alkanes that you have in your wallet. So it could be dangerous if you use Xverse, because Xverse doesn't show up your Alkanes, right? So maybe you could spend them without knowing. So that's why when it's going to be dealing with Alkanes, it's better to use Oil Wallet, or even Unisat is supporting them. And that's why we are currently integrating Unisat in order to allow also to have them.
Gotcha. Quick question. Do you feel like other wallets will support Alkanes, or is there still some time that Alkanes kind of needs to prove to the Bitcoin wallet industry that it's going to stick around?
So I was a bit skeptical regarding the adoption for other wallets before, but what I've seen in the last days are some interaction between some very popular wallets in the Bitcoin space that have not yet integrated Alkanes, that are starting to interact with the tweets and the people that are talking with about Alkanes. So this means, or could hint, that Alkanes are coming to all the wallets possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think that would be that next step of success, right? Right now, oil, which is created by the Alkanes team, that's what you have to use. But, they have been able to build enough momentum to where I think that's possible. We'll see. I think the next 2 weeks to a month is going to be very important to see which wallets end up doing that. But I have the Fluid website up right now. So we go to Airdrop. And we show this every day on our show at the end, and we appreciate all you guys that stick around for us for that last segment. And so basically, if you're a builder or you just want to airdrop, you don't even have to be a builder. You're just a nice guy, and you want to airdrop something to community. You go to airdrop here. First, you go to app.fluidtokens.com. Then you'll go to the airdrop, which is right here, and then you can select either your runes or Alkanes. Right? He said Alkane, so we'll go there. We'll go to continue. This is really easy, but it's important to know you can do it 2 different ways. If you're airdropping to a community, most likely you want to use the upload file route, which is a CSV file, which is a standardized file type based on Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. That's where you put your community members' addresses in. You upload it simply, you go to upload the template in there. It has all the information. Then you hit next, and then you pay for. You select here. I'll actually do it manually here so they can see here. We get an address though, so it's the same process after you upload the file, or if you do it manually. Once you do that, you actually go to the next process and you pay for it. Right. And then once you pay for it, it's really simple. I've used it several times because we had to help test this. And you just paste that, and you can just do I want to do 100. I'm not going to actually do an airdrop here, but I wanted to show you what the process looks like. So I go here. All right, continue. I don't know why. Do I have to do another one here?
Yeah, go to that. You guys look the asset.
Yeah.
So you select the Alkane asset, right? I'm gonna do Alchemist, our guys from the Alchemist team. Shout out Hathbanger, shout out Bunzi. Then you select continue, and then it gives you the information right here, right? So Alkanes is the type, the token standard. Asset is the Alchemist, the name, how much. I'm doing 100 to one person. Obviously, I would send it directly to them. I'm just showing you guys this as, maybe if I were to do 10, right? And then the platform fees are right there. Then it will pull up the wallet, and you have to use the oil wallet for that. So it's really that simple, right? In terms of getting it over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
So
absolutely. I think that this is an easy way, for instance, for projects to onboard more users, because in this way you can either reward your community, your most active users, or easily onboard the new people. Because what happens if I am using a wallet that is not supporting Alkanes, and I receive an airdrop from you? I want to use those Alkanes at some point, right? So I will need to download a wallet that supports them, and that's going to create more momentum.
absolutely.
Yeah, man. For someone who's building, in Cardano DeFi and then building on Alkanes, Alkanes, they have the WASM smart contracts. It's very UTXO based, very similar. How similar is? I understand you're going to potentially say Cardano has polluted smart contracts, and over here we don't really have that. But how similar is it from taking aspects of Cardano and bringing them to Alkanes?
So I would say that right now the experience on Cardano has become way better for developers. So it's very similar right now. If you are able to develop on Cardano, you are probably going to be able to develop smart contracts for Alkanes, and therefore it's very easy for you to come to be a developer over here. And yeah, I actually think that there is a lack of developers on the Bitcoin space for meta protocols in general. And the easier the process is to be on board there, the more there will come. And I think that Alkanes right now is at a very good point for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you guys have something special coming, right? Some staking. Could you kind of get into that?
Absolutely. So as you know, as Yagobi was saying at the very beginning of the show, staking is probably the product that has brought more TVL, more users on our platform. And when it comes to staking, it's very easy because we use OP codes already available in Bitcoin. And what we found out is that we can do the same with Alkanes. So next week, we plan to release staking for Alkanes. We've been already able to onboard some big projects on the Alkanes ecosystem. And most important, there will be some new way to interact. What do I mean? You will be able to stake runes, a particular rune, and get Alkanes as reward. But also the opposite. You are going to be able to stake Alkanes and get runes as reward. And this is because we want to showcase how Alkanes and runes can be used in the same protocol without breaking anything, because they are based on the same protocol standard, so token standard. Yeah.
I love that. So is there also another reason why you want to do this? Because I'm thinking in my mind, one thing with Bitcoin is so many meta protocols, right? And then you have these fungible token wars that are happening. But what maybe you're trying to show here is that, hey, these two standards don't necessarily need to go to war together. They can actually work together, right? Because in a way, you can, stake one, receive the other. Is there any other interactions that could happen between runes and Alkanes? Could you technically do any type of smart contract stuff as well?
I think yes. In my opinion, what we are lacking right now is the use of smart contract with Alkanes for interacting with runes, and that's the next step. So you could actually have smart contract on Alkanes that are able to do stuff with runes, and that could unlock a lot of possibilities for runes, because we know that the runes trading right now is an experience that not always is so easy. So that can open the walls and maybe understand that it's not really a competition, but it's a way to innovate and help each other.
Yeah, make the ecosystem better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what you guys are doing too, you guys are stopping the infighting. Right now, there's a lot of infighting between, BRC20 2.0 versus Alkanes versus runes, right? What you guys are doing, you guys are actually saying, hey, let's all work together here. stake your Alkanes, earn your runes, right? So if you're a big rune guy, hey, it might be beneficial for you guys to pick up some Alkanes. If you're an Alkane guy, it might be beneficial to pick up some runes. I do love that. And the progression that Fluid has had when you guys came in, started building for runes, you guys had a lot of hurdles to get through. And then when you guys saw Alkanes, you're like, oh wow, this solves most of that hurdles. Could you talk about that transition for you guys from runes to Alkanes, and then potentially even bringing it all together?
No, absolutely. So there are some difficulties on the runes protocol because there is no possibility to have smart contracts, right? So that's we know that we have been hinted by something that could come to the rune standard that could help to this, but it's not that straightforward. And what Alkanes decided to do is actually they didn't want to change completely the everything. Like what they say is, we love runes, we love how the standard was done. Let's add something in the runes protocol that is already there that allows us to add some stuff additionally. And this stuff could be some additional kind of tokens that are Alkanes or some smart contracts. So in the very same way that you put an image, an ordinal on the Bitcoin chain forever there, you can write a smart contract and write it there on Bitcoin forever. So if I interact with a smart contract and I'm telling you, hey, Shizzy, I did something with that smart contract and so on, and this is the result, you don't really have to trust me because the smart contract code is over there. So you can go to verify by yourself because the smart contract is there, and you can use what I say that I did and verify if it's actually true. And this is interesting. So, and what we are currently doing, actually, we have not yet written a smart contract with Alkanes. We are currently testing it. What we are currently doing is just using the very same tools that the runes already have, the very same function that runes has, just using them for Alkanes to showcase that they are not two different worlds. They are built on the same standard, as we said before.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And one thing about your team too, and I think it's more you, honestly, and this is a compliment, is that you love challenges when it comes to new standards, and you want to break it to fix it. You know what I mean? And that's just something that I've noticed in Shizzy as well, because we talk about it a lot. Is that, man, he's already doing this, he's already doing that, and so super excited about what you guys end up coming up with. But we do have a question from one of our guest or our community members here. Stan says, in the guest opinion, is Fluid designed to eclipse TradFi or collaborate? Thanks. So
Wow.
yeah, that's an interesting question. He asks good questions, by the way.
So the thing is this, right now at Fluid, what we are doing is we are giving possibility to our users to be their own TradFi. Okay, so in the end, we don't know if institutionals are going to come and they are going to use DeFi tools or they are going to build their own. However, in case they would be interested into use them, Fluid Tokens is open also to them. And that's why also the new lending, for instance, is usable not just by hot wallets. So you can use it by using your wallet or using your multi-signature account. So imagine an institution that is using a multi-signature to manage the funds. They can use the same multi-signature to interact with the lending protocol without having to give the funds to someone and trusting this someone.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So basically, you guys are kind of giving that, leaving that door a little open for, this product that works for them, as them acting as a middleman for their customers, right?
Yes, exactly.
I love that, actually.
Well, great question, Stan, man. 100%. So recently, over the past couple, I almost about a week, 2 weeks ago, you guys recently added liquidity to Dotswap. So you're one of the few tokens now who actually has liquidity in Dotswap. So this is Dotswap Nexus, which is decentralized liquidity aspect. You guys go down the fluid. You guys can see that fluid go swap. Yeah, so you guys are trading, but this is crazy to me. You guys are trading at 15 cents on Dotswap, but if you go over to Cardano MintSwap, you guys are trading for 54 cents. There's a huge area there that is awesome. So you guys are interested in picking up some cheap FLDT. I mean, we're talking 20-30% cheaper. This is definitely the place to do it. Could you talk about the process of adding liquidity to something like Dotswap?
Wow. Okay. Yes. Very good question because it actually took 1 week, so it was kind of a lot of work. But this is not the Dotswap issue. Let me explain. So Dotswap Nexus released this thing very interesting, in my opinion, because when you deploy liquidity on Dotswap before, what you had essentially to do is to give your funds, BTC and the token, to Dotswap team. Okay, it was under their multi-signature, so there was a lot of trust involved there. However, with the Nexus, basically you have your own little server under your keys, under your computer, wherever you want to have, that is the one having the liquidity. And basically that servers tells to the Dotswap interface, look, I have liquidity and this is it. This is the current price. So basically Dotswap doesn't have anymore the custody of the funds. Dotswap is just showing the pool available in our server. So that's it's very interesting in my opinion. And the Dotswap team was very helpful to achieve that.
When you say server, do you mean like literally like it's a secure Web2 server, or is it like a subnet, or like what do you mean by that?
When I say server, I mean like it's probably a virtual server hosted in some area server room
Gotcha.
or something like that. You could even have your own computer running it, of course, but that means that your computer should be on 24/7 because otherwise, when you turn it off, the pool goes down.
So it's almost a way to kind of use technology to make that not a human like the middleman not human, right? It's basically the server that's acting as that authority, right? And so because of that, you're kind of taking it out of traditional Web3, but you're still accomplishing the goal of not having them be centralized. Interesting.
Exactly.
I was thinking something about the fluid token real quick. So is there any way to potentially stake the fluid token and maybe get a liquid staking token on Alkanes? Would that be something that is possible?
Oh, that's actually interesting because that was something that we got asked today. So today, a project that we were talking with said, it would be nice if when I stake on Fluid, I get a position. So I get an ordinal, an orbital, whatever, something that represents that I'm staking there. And in this way, I could be able to do something more with this. I could maybe trade it. I could be even stake it to do some leverage on it and on another platform that requires that. And or I could borrow against that. So yes, the answer is yes. Alkane's contract would allow that, and it probably requires some more research on our side. But yeah, the answer it would be really awesome to see something like that.
There's so much opportunity in Alkanes. Like there really is. The more and more I think about it, the more and more. And you guys are on the ground floor of that. Super special, man. It must be awesome to feel how early. I mean, you were someone who was super early to Cardano, right? You were there before anything was being built, and now you're doing the same exact thing. Way more accomplished, way more experienced, the exact same thing over on Alkanes and Bitcoin. Absolutely amazing, Raul, man. So awesome.
Yep. Well,
Thanks.
Raul, it's been a pleasure having you on for Fluid Fridays. Would love to give you the stage, kind of talk to the audience, maybe about the platform, anything upcoming or anything. Last words for you.
Yes. So if you are new to the Fluid Tokens project, feel free to check our website, fluidtokens.com. Join our Discord if you have any question. Team is always there, or our moderators. And otherwise, follow us on Twitter. We post a lot on our Fluid Tokens account, or Fluid Tokens XBT for the Bitcoin side. And yeah, we make sure to follow and post a lot of tutorials also to use our platform. So thanks, super fun, and
You have a
hope
super
that
fan.
and hope to have you on board. Feel free to check out our platform and test it out, and wait for the staking next week.
100%, man. Absolutely awesome. And guys, go take out the opportunity. 15 cents on Dotswap, 24 cents on MinSwap. Don't be stupid here, guys. This is an opportunity. I'm not saying anything, but there's arbitrage opportunity. So I'm sorry. Is there a bridge maybe opening or anything like that? Maybe real quick.
So now, good question. The bridge is opening soon. However, we are currently, if you have at least 15,000 FLDT rune, you can open a ticket in our Discord, and we will manage the swap for you. So
Amazing.
you will be able. Actually, many people are actually opening tickets because they are doing arbitrage.
Wow, that's amazing, guys. Go take opportunity. I might have to get on that. So take that opportunity, guys. I mean, dude, that's 30%. I mean, that's free money just sitting there. But absolutely awesome. Thank you, Raul.
Thanks to you guys.
All right, have a good weekend.
Bye. You too.
See you, buddy. Absolutely awesome, dude. Talking to Raul, man, it gets me so bullish on DeFi. I'm somebody who I love DeFi. Like, I love the aspect of taking your coins and them not just sitting there. Like right now, I'm holding a lot of runes, right? My runes are just sitting there doing nothing. I would love an opportunity to get a liquid staking token, and maybe that's an Alkane or something, and do something really cool with that, and earn yield while I'm holding the assets that I think are going to 100x. Like, I'm just so bullish on DeFi on Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely excited. There's like really talented and extremely smart builders here, and that's something to be excited about, right? The future of the Bitcoin ecosystem is in good hands, and I think we'll see a lot more interesting things sooner than later.
100%. But let's kind of get into our next segment, guys. So we get into every Friday. We like to showcase our good friends over at Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault, they are building quite a few things. They're building, first off, they're building their jump feature. That's going to allow you to jump your ordinals or NFTs from one chain to another, all using LIT protocol. And that protocol is decentralizing the vaulting system. It's absolutely awesome. And then they have Agent Hustle. Agent Hustle just entered their V3. You're able to go over there and do conditional trading, guys, away from keyboard trading. We'll let Jake get into that in a few seconds, and then they're migrate that fund. If you have a protocol or a token that's on Pump Fund and you want to migrate the bank, if you want to migrate somewhere else, reach out to those guys and they can walk you through the process of migrating. And they actually just migrated their own token, but the TNSR token to the Hustle token, and this week was absolutely nuts for that, and I can't wait to get into that with Jake. So without further ado, bring up Jake. Jake, welcome back to the OnChain Revolution. Thanks so much for being here, sir.
Damn, man. Yeah, just you guys saying that makes me tired again from what this past 6 weeks has really been, but more really the last 5 days or so. So yesterday was the first day really where I only had to manage the development team and obviously deal with kind of responses from the V3 update and migration. But I felt so dopamine deprived because I had literally slept for like 2 or 3 hours the last few days. And so not having to do something 24/7 for a few days, it feels a little strange.
Yeah, man, dude, I can't imagine what the last call. I mean, why did you guys decide to do everything at once? Like, to migrate that fund? That's like, hey, let's just throw V3 out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the space 9 years now, and a builder now for almost 3 years, and CEO for about 1.5 years. And I've learned that when it comes to product launches, you need to launch something alongside it for people to do. So, right, with migration, it's a brand new experiment that, we expected to go well, but obviously there's things that happen in crypto that you have to kind of prepare for the unexpected. But on the other side of that, with the migration, we're aware that the majority of people participated with 78%. There's going to be, people who did not participate. So you have to kind of deal with that situation, as well as then on the other side of that, with the new token, people need to be excited. And so V3, we launched about 10 hours after the migration was completed. And now we're kind of going through the tailwinds of that about 48 hours later, of looking through the platform. But you want to try to keep the attention and interest high, especially with what we've learned with migrations, is that it kind of reactivates the community, where activity on the platform was at pretty much an all-time low. The migration itself can tend to be a little controversial, but what it did is it reactivated the majority of people with renewed interest. And so you want to kind of keep that going. So we felt like the best thing to do would be to launch V3 immediately after that. And then, for the next week or two, really kind of assess the situation technically and socially, work out those kinks, and then continue to move on with the rest of the product line.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but I agree with you. I think like whenever you roll something new out, and the thing about Emblem is you guys, that's the parent brand, right? You guys have a suite of products, and so it's not just one thing, and rolling it all out because it's being built at the same time, and it's crazy that it's all completed at the same time, right? It's the most effective approach, I think, even though you are putting in 27-hour days. I don't know how that's possible, but you're doing it. Right. But with that being said, did you notice a pickup with the new version? Because it looks more sleek. It looks, people are saying it's a better experience. Have you gotten good feedback?
Very positive feedback from pretty much everybody across the board. In terms of the product wise, we took a lot of focus on the UX and improvement, and really bring it in line with kind of the current standard and familiar feel with existing AI products outside of crypto. We took the learnings and lessons over the last, 7 months or so, and really kind of combined it. Also have to give a shout out to different community members who've contributed in different ways, especially Fromp, who's really helped us with the UX kind of improvement, as well as some other community members. And then on the other side of that, the different implementations in terms of like focusing on tools. As we've realized, there's two different user types use Hustle. One is traders, and one are more just pocket analysts who use them to just like aggregate information and talk back and forth, is kind of like a friendly quant, is kind of what everyone says. So taking that in mind, splitting it, and then combining that with the new branding of the Hustle token, more of the blue, leaving the purple. It's a lot, but very, very positive feedback. Some numbers is that 2 days ago, the platform was at all-time low in terms of activity, and then yesterday we hit all-time high in terms of activity. So 5,000 prompts. We hit about 5,000 prompts yesterday. So it's about still not getting a ton of like explosive users like a lot of people kind of claim to have. I think we've had about 300 to 400 accounts or unique users come to the platform since launch about 2 days ago. Trading activities increased about 6x or so. We've done a little bit over 50,000 in trading volume in the past 48 hours or so. And so what it tells us is that we have a lot of power users, people who literally sit here. We have an average session time of 16 minutes. So the average person is spending about 16 minutes a day on Hustle on average. Obviously, there are people who are spending literally hours per day using them, but we have a very strong user base who's here to use them. They give us suggestions, give us feedback, and it's been a really good stress test so far. Two things that we have to that we're putting some focus in fixing is the conditional engine, which has a ton of interest. The API, I guess you'd say the API and some of the third-party services that we use for it are being put under immense pressure. And so we're trying to work with them to fix the situation. If not, we're going to have to change a little bit of the backend infrastructure. But it's been really, really good stress test. There's been I don't have the exact numbers, but from the kind of notification internal tooling that we've built, there's a conditional trade being prompted probably every 5 or 10 minutes, at least on average. And then the tooling itself that we built is working really well, and it is what's increasing a lot of the usage with like the toolbox and then the tool mention that you can directly use. So on that, we have to figure out how to scale it, which we're kind of working on the back end. So we're putting a lot of focus on those two things. And then maybe we'll get into later on kind of like what's next and such. But yeah, over the next week or two, it's really just kind of improving everything that exists because, man, it's a lot of people love it. Not much negative feedback in terms of the platform, really just taking everything in as a positive suggestion and going from there.
Yeah. You know, I can't imagine how much your volume is going to jump up as well once you guys add the other tech stacks as well. Right now, you only have the access to Solana. So once you add stuff in, like, I don't know, example would be Bitcoin, I know is coming. So that would be cool. Definitely a unique experience. I think that will be. But if you added like BSC, if you add base, if you add like the EVM stuff, man, at least quadruple, maybe triple. Right? Would you think in terms of volume? Because there's just so much being traded in all those areas.
Yeah. So we had a discussion on Wednesday from our development team on network expansion. So we do have a path forward for Bitcoin. So we'll most likely be using Laser Eyes, which is created by Bunzi, really good tool. We'll probably be building Emblem AI directly into Laser Eyes so that anyone can use it. And then on Bitcoin, yeah. So that'll be a big upgrade. That's a little bit of alpha. And then most likely we'll be adopting runes first, as that's the most popular. We've actually been reached out to by a handful of DEX providers and infrastructure providers to be the different various levels of support for different protocols for Bitcoin inside of Agent Hustle. And then on the EVM side, I'm personally most interested in integrating Polymarket first, to be completely honest. We were talking about this on the show yesterday, but there's a large amount of interest in Hyperliquid support, Polymarket support, Base, obviously, ETH mainnet, Abstract is one that we've been getting a lot of questions on, and there might be a handful of other ones. And then on the Bitcoin side, there's a few other meta protocols like Alkanes has reached out. Obviously, we want to support ordinals and counterparty. So those would probably be like kind of the main 4 ones. And then maybe BRC 2.0 as well. But really, we're just going to start with runes and move on from there.
Yeah. Ultimate interoperability tool, in my opinion, could be like the interoperability tool, because I know you guys are known for that. You know, you guys have been doing it since the last cycle. But this is something I think like where the ceiling is so high for like user growth that it's insane. And I'm excited for you guys for that.
Yeah, we're seeing with user growth, it seems like we're kind of getting a little bit at a local max in terms of, 300, maybe a little bit over 300 people using it at the end of the day. We built a brand new tracking system. So it took us almost a month to build. That's in place right now, which we just launched referrals on the platform, which is being used actually like pretty well. So we'll be displaying information about that down the road. We will be launching like a type of leaderboard that's tracking a variety of different statistics for users, which obviously then plays into kind of like gamification of the platform, right? Like rewards and stuff like that. So that will be being tracked. And then expanding to different networks is definitely key. Base is somewhat saturated and also kind of somewhat commoditized by Banker at this point in time. So it's not as much of a priority because there is like a dominant player over there already. Although obviously we want to support all the networks. Bitcoin, we just believe we have the community and skill set and knowledge to come in and be the leaders there. And then some of the various other L2s, I think, are kind of like open season. There's maybe a competition between 3 to 5, really, in my opinion, AI projects or agentic projects who are really going to come out here for the taking. And obviously, Hustle is probably in the top 3. The market cap of the new token maybe doesn't reflect the amount of usage. because we did launch on Pump Fund. Maybe that'll change through the exposure of Migrate Fund that maybe we'll talk about later. But kind of the whole goal here is quite simple. We have this idea of what's called an AI router. And I may have explained this on the show before, but when you look across the space for infrastructure, there's kind of like 4 main protocols that essentially will never die because everything is routed through their infrastructure. So for example, Uniswap for ERC20 tokens, you can basically go create any competitor that you want in terms of a DEX, but all of the transactional flow it goes through the Uniswap liquidity pools and routers. So at the end of the day, no, Uniswap will never die. It's the same thing with OpenSea. People are calling the death for OpenSea, but everything is built on top of Seaport, right? And so all the transactions, every marketplace is a front end on top of that. And you can look at the same thing with Chainlink and Oracles, is that Chainlink will never die because they're basically the router for all types of off-chain aggregation information. And we believe that there's a similar path here for AI to be an AI router. So all the new stuff that gets integrated through Agent Hustle AI from the retail facing basically gets channeled through the Agent Hustle MCP or SDK for other builders to then integrate. So if we integrate Bitcoin and we have all the infrastructure for Bitcoin, then any Bitcoin protocol, whether it's Magic Eden, right, or Dotswap or Xverse or whoever it is, they can use the Agent Hustle SDK and literally have the agent of their own white label version plugged into their system, and it's very simple to use. And obviously there's like developer costs associated with it, but that's going to be kind of a, AI as a service type business. And that's B2B. And that's really where I guess you would say adoption comes from. But the idea for, this agentic future that's coming, the majority of these teams, 99% of them, are not going to have the ability to basically build out their own AI infrastructure. So just coming here and support or using the Agent Hustle SDK to integrate it into your system, quite simple, is really the main goal there. And then from the retail side of things, we're going to add continued gamification and tokenomics to the platform, right, to accrue value to Agent Hustle, the token, and therefore increase adoption. Because outside of product expansion, the best way to expand users is for number go up technology.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys are so aware of that, right? Like you guys have been on top of that from the beginning. And I've heard you say that, or Adam say it. I mean, Chris even said it when we had him on. And it really is. I mean, if you want people to use your product, you have a coin and that number go up, because what that's going to do, it's going to bring exposure when people are checking CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and they see Agent Hustle. Well, what is that? And they start digging in. They go to your website and holy crap, this is where it changes. And that's absolutely huge. And you guys recently, you guys created Migrate That Fund, but you also used it as well. I was curious of your experience. Let's just say you guys didn't build it, but what's your experience as a user of Migrate That Fund going from Tensor to Hustle?
I thought it was a pretty good experience. We put our own token through the platform first because first we needed it, right? So that was the reason that we built it, was we absolutely needed the migration. It was the number one request from the community for months at this point in time. So we'd been planning it for months, thinking about how to do it. We came up with the solution, and from other teams and I could say liquidity funds and just individuals we've talked with, it was a common issue with a lot of projects who had launched through Pump Fund. And the issue is that you have no treasury, right? Because you launch on Pump Fund. There's a locked liquidity, so you don't get rewards, or you can't remove the liquidity. It has immutable metadata, so you can't brand change. And so this is really an issue for long-term projects. And a lot of AI projects launched through Pump Fund at the end of last year, probably more than 50% of them. And so they're really facing a lot of issues. And then it turns out like a lot of meme coins are in similar situations, from like CTO projects and kind of a different variety of meme coins who need kind of a fresh start. And so when we went through this, there's a handful of lessons and learnings that we're going to improve on from the technical side and the social side itself, that we're now communicating with this next cohort of individuals. And the platform has got a lot of attention. It actually has a lot more demand than I was actually aware of. And we're now working with two very large partners to bring new projects to their communities and platforms. I think people will actually be quite surprised who these partners are. And it's very good company. And we're just very excited to really work with them. And then basically what's going to happen next with Migrate Fund is it was always planned to have kind of this cool off period after the Hustle token. There was a lot of teams, I'm talking dozens of teams, who were watching the Hustle migration, waiting to see what happened and see if it went well. And it went really well, right? They wanted to see, does it actually work, right? How did it affect the Hustle token? What was the community response? What was the participation rate and such? And we could dive into those details if you want. But now that it's gone really well, a lot of those teams are now reaching out. We're in those conversations. And a lot of infrastructure providers as well have reached out on how this can apply to them, or how does this integrate into their protocol. And it's somewhat, I think, of a Trojan horse to Agent Hustle. The Migrate.fund platform will take a portion of the revenues and buy the Hustle token, right? Like the buyback trend is obviously massive right now. Like this is the first kind of tokenomic thing that people started pursuing once there was regulatory clarity in the United States. And so we think that this, because Hustle will be branded on Migrate Fund once this next cohort happens, which will be somewhere between 3 to 10 teams kind of launching together. And once all of those end, then we'll take a portion of those funds, buy the token back, and Hustle will be branded. So we think it could be a Trojan horse. But we also think like this idea of a migrate narrative could be really like an actual meta. Like I do think that this is something that a lot of people are interested in. And after this first cohort happens, I think people will be quite surprised on how fast this could really take off once we open the platform to everybody after this first cohort sometime next month.
Yeah. For the builders that launched a project on Pump Fund or Believe or another launch pad that locks the liquidity away, what other than that, like what's the main reason for someone to want to do this? A couple reasons if you have any.
Yeah, it's a good question. The reasons I said before are the primary reasons of why we built it. And so for long-term projects, that was the idea. And we do have a good mix of those. Some of the other reasons that we've seen, and it's kind of a wide variety, some of them have to do with the liquidity depth to the market cap itself. So some of these projects that have reached out to us have almost a 1-to-1 ratio of market cap to liquidity. So for example, if your market cap is 50 million, they'll have the liquidity pool at 25 million to 50 million. And this actually causes an issue with transactional volume or transactional volatility, where it takes much more volume to push the price up because the depth is so tight. And this is a lot of popular meme coins. This has become an issue because with Pump Fund specifically, you can't remove the liquidity. So and all of the transactional fees just get rolled back into the LP itself. So if this meme coin has had a lot of volume, then eventually the LP ends up becoming at a much higher depth in the ratio to the market cap for trading. So from the people that we've talked with in terms of funds, traders, market makers, companies, etc., it seems like the sufficient range for trading is generally about 10% to 30% of liquidity depth to market cap. So for example, if my market cap is 1 million, you want the liquidity pool to be between 100K to 300K. Once it starts getting above 30%, it seems to be where there's issues. So we have a lot of teams who've reached out who have this specific issue of just having too much depth. And another reason is just simply a fresh start. What do people in this industry love? They love new tokens. They love new narratives. They love to participate in fresh charts. And what does a migration do? It reactivates the true believers and supporters. And again, I'm speaking in majority. I'm speaking in majorities and not absolutes. because obviously it's impossible to get 100% of people to participate in everything. But it reactivates people because now they actually have to move their tokens, right, from one place to another. It regenerates interest and buzz. And there's also a motive for the community to start promoting the project again, because the less amount, or I guess you would say there's like a range of participation where if less, or if you say, if there's, 20, 30% of, or if you get 70, 80% participation rate, there's now 20% of the tokens left over that goes to the team, or the team distributes it to the migrators, or there's this new gamification where there's new tokens that are being taken off the market to then use in some sort of tokenomic scheme. And it seems like from the people we've talked to, and also actually quite surprisingly, the centralized exchanges for some of these teams who are going out to the exchanges seem to be actually quite on board with it as well, because exchanges want new volatility. They want new transactional volume. And what does a migration do? Fresh start. So this is why I kind of think that this can actually be like a very strong narrative moving forward, but we'll really find out when the first cohort launches.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It really is. And what you guys are doing is nothing new, right? Like we saw Phantom migrate to Sonic, right? You guys are just giving that platform to regular people to not have to go out and build something like you guys did, which is absolutely awesome. I'm just curious, and are most teams going to contact you? Do they want, like, when they say fresh start? Are they like just going like V2, or are they want like a new name and a new branding?
Good question. It does seem like the majority of them are actually going to be using the same ticker. And it's really just more of a fresh start. For the long-term builders, it's an opportunity to grow your token treasury, right? For a lot of the AI teams that launched, there was no token treasury. It was, right, because you launch it. Some teams that we launched that have talked to us said they literally only owned 1% of the token supply. And only 1% of the token supply, and not getting token rewards. There's like nothing you can do as a builder, right? It's just the whole thing is just completely fucked. So the majority of it is a fresh start, and I think that's fine. Like there's no denying that fresh charts is what people want, especially on Solana. And so, we're just going to kind of give that to them. But again, every situation is different, and there does seem to be a little bit of nuance with we've probably talked directly with about 10 to 12 different teams so far, but there is a lot more in the waiting, and they all have similar but slightly different reasons for it.
Yeah. It's like a customized situation too, right? So it's kind of like, tell us your issue. The migration part, that's not the hard part. It's like, okay, what else do you need, or whatever. Like, for example, like you guys went from Tensor to Hustle, but that was because there was already a Tensor ticker out there. So that's a marketing issue. Didn't know that whenever you launched first on Pump Fund, and then someone else might not have that, but they might have some other issue or whatever. So is that how you approach it?
Yeah, specifically. And I'm actually somewhat disappointed in some of the administrative stuff that I've done on the back end of Solana that really skews towards short-term projects. For example, like with RugCheck. So CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap use RugCheck. RugCheck dings you massive points if you have an unlocked liquidity pool, or if you have a wallet with over 10% of the supply, or if there's, or if you have mutable metadata. And those three things before meme coins was common practice for long-term projects. If I'm a long-term project, if my brand changes, I need to be able to update the image, right, on the project, or any of the metadata, like the websites and stuff associated with it. If I'm a long-term project, I want to put all of my tokens in a treasury so that people can watch it, and so you can have this kind of proof of reserves. And if I'm a long-term project, then I need the liquidity pool unlocked so that I can get the rewards. And if the liquidity gets past that 30% range, I need to be able to pull some out so that I don't run into these mistakes of these other projects. And unfortunately, the Solana ecosystem does not allow long-term builders to participate in that, or you get dinged and labeled the potential rug. So I do think this is actually something that's holding the whole ecosystem back, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon. But it's just something to be aware of, and something that I've learned to build migrate funds. So we do hope that we can partner with RugCheck and some of these other systems to help long-term builders proliferate in the ecosystem that's optimizing for short-term attention and short-term projects.
So basically, RugCheck would say Curve and Aave and MakerDAO that they would all be flagged.
They'd all be considered rugs. Yeah, literally.
That's insane. That's
yeah,
insane.
it is. And like, we get people reaching out to us saying to lock liquidity pool and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to lock a liquidity pool of $200,000 of our own money and allow the same situation to happen. Then eventually down the road, we're going to have to migrate again, right? It's just like, it's a never ending issue. And you have to kind of take a hard stance with a lot of the community members who want to attract short-term attention and short-term traders, but we're kind of a long-term player in a short-term game, and hopefully we could change that with Migrate Fund and some of the very strong ecosystem partners that we have.
Yeah, 100%. I want to ask a question about the migrate. So, when someone comes to you, do they have, like, you guys did 2 weeks? Are you guys pushing teams to do 2 weeks, or are you doing any advisement at all to these builders?
Yeah, we are doing advisement. So also some clarity, the on-chain event was 2 weeks. We did market this for about a month beforehand. So we gave people, 6 weeks to participate. There is no real right answer to this. And the reason why, we chose 2 weeks instead of, let's say, 2 months or 3 months or 4 months or whatever, the numbers show that the majority of people are paying attention. We got 51% of the migration within the first 24 hours, ended up with 78%. So overwhelmingly majority migrated within 2 weeks, right? After that, it feels like there is some kind of lagging effects. I mean, when you look at like some recent migrations, like Magic Internet Money, they promoted their migration for literally a year, and they had the window open for 2 months, and they ended up with 74%. So they ended up with less migration participation than we even had, right? So there, and for like Koval, our own migration with Koval going to keys, we've had the migration open for since December, and it closed in October, and it's like around 35 to 40% participation, right? So at the end of the day, it comes down to the communities or the builder's relationship with the community, who needs to have, or whoever the project owner is or manager, they need to have a firm understanding of their community to decide what's best. We're recommending nothing longer than 30 days. It seems like the majority of teams are in 100% agreement to that. But you can, if you choose or you want a longer migration, then that is possible. There's also some tooling that we've built into the creator side of things. One of them, which was a request by our infrastructure provider, was a snapshot and airdrop tool. And the reason why we added this is between the different migrations, some teams like us, for example, we launched on Pump Fund. There was no private sale. There was no pre-sale, right? So there is no, you could say financial liability, because everything was a secondary sale. Some other teams that we've talked with have done multi-million-dollar raises. And so they need to ensure that everybody who participated in the private sale gets their tokens. So we added this airdrop and snapshot tool that will take a snapshot at the end of the migration for all of the holders who did not migrate. And then it's up to the team to decide, how they want to distribute it. Some of them have asked for like automated tooling and such, but we're just not at that point where we can, kind of build some of this stuff for the specific types of teams. But having these conversations now is important, so we understand, all of the different dynamics to it. And I can actually explain how it works if you want. You guys want me to explain it?
Yeah, sure.
So it's actually quite simple. It works kind of like this. So a creator comes in, right? We'll say the on-chain revolution token, right? You want to migrate it, or you want to, you have the ordinal revolution token, and you want to migrate to the on-chain revolution token, right? Because you're going through a brand change and so not. So you go in and you basically create, this is for Solana, you go and create the on-chain revolution token, you set the image, and you set the timeline length. So let's say you set it for 30 days. So your users now, you're done as a creator. Like you're completely done.
Wow.
The users then it's on a project founder or team to then basically promote the migration, and the users will have 30 days to commit all of their old tokens into this vault. And so for 30 days, the vault will get filled. Once the 30 days close, all of those old Ordinal Revolution tokens that have been committed to the vault will be sold in a single candle down. This is what you see with the tensorium chart. And it actually comes out to, if you launch on Pump Fund, it's about the range where if you get 30% of tokens participating, you can get about 80% of the SOL recovered. So for this example, using flat numbers, if the Ordinal Revolution liquidity pool was $1 million, that means there's 500,000 in SOL. And if you got 30% of people to migrate their Ordinal Revolution to OnChain Revolution, you will then get 80% of that 500K. So you'll get 400,000 in SOL. There is a platform fee that this is where Migrate Fund takes a percentage of that SOL as a one-time platform fee, and that's it. And then the remaining SOL will be paired with the new token, which is the OnChain Revolution token. So let's say you have 400K in SOL. It'll pair with 400K in OnChain Revolution token. And so you have an $800,000 liquidity pool. This liquidity pool will be deployed there to be traded. And then the 30% of the 30% of migrators will get their token 1-to-1 at a 1-to-1 distribution. And then all of the unclaimed or non-migrated tokens, so you have 70% minus the liquidity pool. So you say, 60% or 60% of supply will be returned to the creators of the project to do with it as they want. If they want to airdrop more tokens to the community, if they want to hold it, it's really kind of up to them. And then trading begins, and then they're kind of off to do what they want. And then with the liquidity pool remains unlocked if you're migrating to just Radium. And there will be a temporary lockup period for somewhere between 14 to 30 days. And then after that, the creator can add liquidity, they can remove liquidity, but then they could get their rewards for the trading activity. Obviously, there has to be some trust between the creator of the project and the community, right? Because there is obviously potential for somebody to basically remove the entire liquidity pool. But that's what the community is going to have to trust with the creator and their relationship. And so that's really up to them, because if you lock the LP, then you're basically in the same situation a year later. So, and then that's all done automatically at the end of the day. And then the creator can come to Migrate Fund and pull their rewards out from there. Or if they want to move their LP token somewhere else in a different wallet to manage it through Radium, they can do that as well.
What happens if the community split? Half the community wants to do this, half the community doesn't. Does this come into factor for Emblem Vault at all?
No, so there we do put liquidity protection, and so yeah, there's liquidity protection where basically the creator can put a minimum participation rate. So they're like, I want to ensure that at least 50% of the people participate in this to go through with the process. And so you can kind of set that. From what we've seen so far, the majority of people will participate. At the end of the day, most people just want the number to go up. So if the number goes up is putting your tokens through here, then they will do it. If there is it's like, show me the incentive and I'll show you the result type of thing. And especially if a lot of people are doing this, then that's where you could kind of see this really kind of take off there. So we have put that there. But what the numbers are showing is really all you need is about 30% of people to recover the majority of the SOL. But it's really just going to come down to the creator and their relationship with the community on what they determine is best.
100%. So if you are interested in this, make sure you guys have the the voice of the community as well. I'm sure most creators do. It's kind of why people invest in that, because they believe in the head guy there, or the creator, or the top guy there. But kind of want to move on here a little bit. So you guys right after Migrate That Fund, finished. You guys had a huge announcement with the conditional trading and everything in V3, and it looks phenomenal, Jake. I mean, the changes that were made were so great. I mean, it's completely new look to it. Could you kind of break down the process of launching this and maybe some of the new tools that you can get started with today?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you for showing this. So right here on the homepage was something major that we did. There's these like 4 buttons where it says under what are we doing today, where you could just click it and it pre-generates the prompt underneath. So if you just click it, it'll show it there. So you could kind of go ahead and start. So this was for just basically newbies. We did have, if people remember, directives on the last platform. This is a little bit more kind of user friendly. So yeah, I wonder why it's not loading. Could be just
it's not
overloaded.
hustle. My computer's acting up. I need to restart, so it's not hustle.
No problem. One other thing that we added, which you probably don't see here, unless you hit sign out, you can actually sign in with or disconnect. You can sign in with Twitter and Google. This was an in-house server or in-house system that we built. We basically kind of built our own privy. This works really well on mobile. One of the issues that we were running into with Agent Hustle in the web browser on your mobile device is that it wouldn't really connect with Phantom. And it's because Phantom has their own kind of browser or their own browser inside of the app. So there's kind of a lot of these nuances. So signing in with X or signing in with Google just makes it a lot more simple process. If you go to Toolbox, so Toolbox and Conditional are really the 2 major upgrades. Oh, so there you go with Twitter and Google. So keep in mind that if you sign in with these with each different one, then it's a different account. It's a different account each time, right? So there are people who have multiple accounts for whatever reasons, but if you're going to go between desktop and mobile, I suggest then doing this with do it with a social sign in to some degree. So you come in here, right? You hit open, and it basically creates a wallet for people who've never used this before. So Agent Hustle is then authorized to kind of co-manage your vault with you. This generally takes like 20 seconds or so to be created, but it's a huge improvement there from the user experience. It was one of the top requests. And so, yeah, we hope that this kind of experience really helps people.
I love it too. Like I love signing my Twitter, like because I do everything on Twitter, right? So it'd be so great to be able to kind of just do everything with my Twitter account instead of using my Google and stuff like that. But Yago, would you mind showing your screen on this?
Here, I can do it. I got it.
Okay, cool.
Here, let me do it.
Are you guys thinking about possibly doing some like trader cards or something like that? That would be cool because it's like a social viral effect, right?
Yeah, so P&L cards are something we want to do. There's a lot, and I'll dive into kind of what our updates are after this. So obviously balances, pretty simple, right? We added the referral code. This is something new. So you could just come in here and add this, and it's just basically a website, right? So it just looks like a website. There are going to be rewards for this. So we're kind of going back and forth between we're going to be building a leaderboard, right? So it'll show all of your referral accounts. Obviously, there's potential for a few variety mechanisms between either revenue sharing, points accrual, right? Or kind of this like positive feedback loop. So I do recommend people to share this, right? It could be a very great side business, I guess would be the best way, but we'll have more information on that soon. We put it there now because a lot of people were just requesting it, like trading groups and stuff like that. So that's a big update. The toolbox, this is something completely new and exploratory that does not exist in any other AI project. And so what is a toolbox? How do agents use tools? The best way to describe it is kind of this, is that there's 2 kind of approaches to AI. There's this like modular approach and this monolithic approach. And so the modular approach you'll see on things like Griffin or some other projects where you're creating basically dozens or thousands of different agents for one specific task, right? You have like an order limit agent or limit order agent, you have a DCA agent, you have a pump fund agent, etc. We felt like that modular approach to AI was the wrong direction. We want one agent basically doing everything, right? And so it makes it much easier for the user to kind of determine things. So with this way, how agents do different things is what's called tools. This is like a thing that exists outside of crypto as well. So think of it as like, think of an agent as like a human, and think of these different tools as toolboxes, right? So if I want to go fix a house or build a house, right, you're going to have different variety of tools. You're going to need a hammer, right? You're going to need like a cement machine. You're going to have to stand up drywall. You're going to need a paintbrush, right? And so you have all these different tools, literally hundreds of tools to build a house. It's the same situation here, where if I want to trade on Pump Fund, you could come here and open this, and I'm going to need the Pump Fund toolbox on, right? So it says get Pump Fund tokens, buy Pump Fund tokens, deploy tokens, right? These different verification tools. So you can turn these on and off. And up here at the top, it says 33 tools selected. So turn it on or off. It's up to you. Some of these are going to be premium features. We do have everything turned on now until we have subscriptions. So there's two different types of tools here, trader and analyst. Think of trader as on-chain trading tools. Analyst does different types of information. And so you could come down here and see things from TVL to yield to perps, right? All the way down to Bitcoin tools. And you could come and open this and right, so it's like UTXO runes, get runes balance, etc. Remember, this is under analyst. So this is just information. It's not trading, right? Get Alkanes info, etc. Come down here. We have like options data, spot data. So you could come in here and you can choose these tools to be turned on or off. The thing to then think of is, the reason why I say think of it as a human is that there is an actual limit to the amount of tools that could be turned on before the quality of the AI itself starts degrading. And so what Anthropic actually recommends in OpenAI is to have no more than 20 tools turned on. Obviously, with Agent Hustle and crypto, it's going to be a little more difficult to do. So we recommend, somewhere between around 30 to 40 is probably fair enough. Once you start getting over 50 tools turned on, then the quality degrades. And what I mean by that is he becomes slower. He loses a little bit of his personality. And you just have to think of it as like this. If I put 40 different tools in front of me to build a house, it's going to take me a little bit longer to look through all the tools to decide what I need to paint the wall, right? Or to do the roofing or whatever it is. So in this way, an agent is exactly the same way. So you can come in and turn these on and off. The cool thing here with Agent Hustle and what we want to build towards is you can basically, this is what we're building next with a memory app, is that you can actually save the tools to the memory app for, so say like I want to create a daily report and I want to have on the InfoFi tool, the TVL tool, right? Perps, etc. I could, and you basically create a prompt that says, I want to know the 24-hour DEX volume, the DEX volumes. I want to know fees and revenue for these different protocols, etc. You basically can turn all those tools on, create a prompt, and save it to his memory to then use that whenever that you want. So the memory tool is coming next to make that kind of experience much better. And then the other thing that I'd like to just focus on is the conditional trading engine. And so with this, you can see this is kind of a tool that I had on that didn't ever execute. So here are the prompts. So the conditional engine is something we built completely in-house. This is on-chain actions through market triggers. So things like buy limits, things like sell limits, things like take profit, and you can kind of combine these. So you could do simple things like this, like buy 0.1 SOL of Trump when the price drops by 10% and set a take profit at 50%. So you could do simple things like this. Or you could do much more advanced ones like take 1 SOL in DCA into DOG with 10 different orders in 2% price decreases. Like you could do things like that as well. Again, remember that there is kind of like a limitation to the AI in terms of like tools. So when you get a little bit more sophisticated, he'll take a little bit longer, or he may time out and then you have to press continue. It's something that we're kind of working on. And we added this new thing called a chain of thought. or chain of thought. So you could see kind of where he is in the process of setting all these things up, and he kind of funnels through these different tools as the conditional trade is being set up. So you can see here now the conditional trade was set up, right? That was pretty quick. And you'll come here and now you can see the conditional trade. And so you can, and kind of how to read this is the buy token. This is the sell token. This is the transaction ID. So if you need to come in here, you could basically paste this and say, you know, give me an update on this transaction, or are there any type of changes that I should make to this, etc. This is the chart. So you can come in and look at the chart. If you want to, you can even close this to make it full screen. So you come down here, you open it up, and how to read this, right? So 0.1 Sol is being used to acquire Trump, right? The buying token. These are the prices. So here's the execution price. So it's saying when the Trump coin drops from $10.21 to $9.16, it will be purchased with 0.1 Sol. And then once that happens, the take profit is $13.74. So once that order is executed, once the price hits $13.74, then the price will be automatically executed and you get your Sol. You can set a stop loss if you want to do this as well. And the kind of goal here is, right now it's market-based triggers, right? So the execution is $9. Eventually we would like to add social triggers, news-based triggers, time-based triggers, where instead of the execution, or maybe you add like another variable here where it's like, instead of the execution being $9.16, or the take profit, I should say, at $13.74, the take profit is when Trump tweets about the Epstein files, right? Or the take profit is when Trump, I don't know, when Trump has his next press conference. Or you could do something like set the take profit for 3 days from now at this exact time, and it doesn't matter for the price. So that's kind of like the direction of where we want to go with this. And right now, as I mentioned, the conditional engine has been under immense stress tests, which has been very good. As we were having this discussion, I see the devs figuring out how to fix the problem. So I think we do have a solution to that. So it will take some time. Like right now, the conditional engine is only executing like two and three trades right now, which is not good for people who need to trade. So I appreciate everyone who's been kind of patient over the last 2 days and even testing it out. But there is a fix coming, and we do know how to fix it. The devs are just now on it and trying to solve it. So overall, awesome upgrade to the platform. People are highly interested. Got a lot of attention from a lot of people across all markets.
Yeah. And for the audience listening in, you got to kind of expect to be patient at certain times with like new innovative products like this. This hasn't been, this is like new to like the world, right? It's not just like to the AI space or anything like that. But one thing you mentioned was like the triggers, the social triggers. So I was thinking at first when conditional trading was coming, I was like, well, people are going to push back and say, well, I could just do that with my trading bot, or I could just set a limit order from the most simplest form. I was like, yeah, you could do that. But can your bot, or can you set a trigger off of something that's a social event? No, you can't. And I think that's the biggest separation there that Hustle is going to have from a conditional trading perspective. And that's going to be so huge because, again, that's why I think you're so excited to get Polymarket integrated too, is because, you always use the Denver Broncos for an example because I think that's your favorite team probably. Mm-hmm. But or no, you used Patrick Mahomes actually last time. But if he gets hurt, you can say don't or sell my position for the Super Bowl MVP or whatever on Polymarket, right? That's the idea.
Yeah. So there's quite a variety. Yeah, I use Polymarket because I like prediction markets. That's like the more interesting trading arena for myself personally. And I think it has the widest variety of variables in terms of what a trigger could be, right? So for example, they have a lot of like political based triggers. And so like for the one of them's like, will the Epstein files be released? So you could set something like, buy the position, buy the, buy the poly market prediction that only 20% chance of, I guess it'd be a 22-cent share at, with 5 SOL that the Epstein files will be released, and then sell it whenever Pam Bondi tweets about, XYZ, or sell it if Pam Bondi is removed as the attorney general, right? So you could do like all kinds of things. I think that's kind of a fun intellectual arena to experiment with. BankerBot also did just integrate Polymarket, so I'm kind of watching them. They seem to be kind of like always a few weeks ahead of kind of what we're doing, but they're on base, we're on Solana, so it is kind of cool to see, to have some friendly competition. And yeah, really getting the combination. Again, I've used this example before, but you could see a world a year from now when the models are getting much better, the infrastructure is much better, right? The existing companies have been integrated all over. You can see this like self of automation where you can basically load up Agent Hustle with 5 SOL and then just basically say create meme coins based off of words that Trump uses in his speech and just launch them, between this time window. Obviously, we're still, probably a year or 2 away from that. There's like things on the model level that have to get a lot better. But really just kind of using your imagination in this space, I think, is really important because there's really limitless opportunities here if AI lives up to be kind of what it is. And to be completely honest, from what I'm seeing on the back end and how this is all built, it is definitely one of the most profound technologies I've ever seen. I've been in crypto for 10 years, and I think crypto is very profound. And it's why I literally spend every second of my life building in it. But the pace that AI is growing, and just the amount of adoption is truly mind blowing. Like I don't think a lot of most of society is really ready for what's about to happen if this really does live up to be. And it's going to take crypto to the next level. So I just encourage everyone to use Agent Hustle. Even just try it, even if you're not a big Solana person, really just kind of experiment with it and use it, because this stuff is not going away. It's only going to get better. And when the quote unquote normies come to crypto, right now there's over 1 billion AI subscriptions, monthly subscriptions across the world. And so you're saying already, 15% of the planet is using AI on a monthly basis, where you have maybe 10 million people to 20 million people a month using crypto, and much less of them being on chain, most of them being exchanges. So when the normies come, they're going to be using AI to transact. Like it's just literally a numbers game at that point, and it's much higher. And you're going to lose out to normies because you just failed to experiment with AI. And so I just recommend using it. Even if you don't like Agent Hustle and you think some of the other products are better, then please try them all out. And I welcome that. Just don't let yourself lose an edge because you failed to participate in the next innovation of crypto. And it's just so completely obvious this is it.
Yeah, man, 100%. And you guys actually have something happening in about a couple, like 6 to 8 weeks now, and that is your Emblem vaults, right? These things are going to be unlocking very soon at a certain block height. I wonder if you, real quickly, maybe we could talk about this. And you allowed us to say something to our members. I don't know if you announced that yet either, but if you did, that'd be great.
Yeah. So the unlock happens at Bitcoin block 915,000. It's about September 15th or so. Keys is going to be the ecosystem token of Emblem Vault. I know it could get kind of confusing for some people between Agent Hustle and such, but the way that we've began to start building is building applications on top of Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault essentially is an interoperability layer. You could call it chain abstraction layer, token abstraction layer. You could consider an L1 if that's kind of the best framing for you. And then think of Agent Hustle, think of Migrate Fund, think of Emblem Vision. These are all applications that are built on top of Emblem Vault. It's all using vaults. It's all using the same technology itself. And so when we launched Agent Hustle, let's go Leo. Good to see Leo in the house. With Agent Hustle, it would be ideal to just have one token across all of the ecosystem, but the way it just unfolded to get the participation of the Solana ecosystem, you just have to launch a native token there. So Hustle is going to be the token of Migrate Fund and Agent Hustle. But moving forward with Emblem Vault, we're going to be using keys. We've actually built, it's like 80% done or so, a cross-chain application for NFTs that we believe can be kind of this, the quote-unquote killer app for NFTs across all ecosystems, right? So it includes ordinals, it includes Counterparty, includes Solana NFTs, ERC-721s, etc., and really gamify it. And that platform is going to be using keys as the native token as well. And it's going to be a long-term play. The reason why we decided to migrate Covol to keys and then, basically have the Emblem Vault token on Bitcoin is because we believe that Runes is the best long-term token standard that is interoperable with every chain through Emblem Vault technologies. And also Emblem Vault's largest user base is Bitcoiners, right? We have 25,000 unique wallets that on ETH that hold vaults, and over 80% of assets in vaults are Bitcoin NFT variety between stamps, ordinals, and counterparty assets. And so the infrastructure of Runes is improving. When we decided to launch this last year, right, it was basically we etched keys as number 5,000. It was on the first day. We were like, this is going to be the future. Obviously, development's been a little bit slower for keys, or not for keys, for Runes, but there is positive signs, right? With like Dotswap, obviously Magic Eden's partnering with Sparks to try to do liquidity pools. Kraken is now in the game for exchanges. That's like a good venture for liquidity. And so Emblem Keys is a long-term project, a coin that's going to be integrated into the protocol over time, as well as this cross-chain application and any other future Emblem Vault applications. What's a specific utility is not something that I'm going to kind of share today. The idea of Emblem Vault, and this was kind of what the vision that we had sold with to the Echo round when we did a private sale. And this is where we would like it to be, but it's a little bit difficult to get there, is, Emblem Vault essentially becomes the Amazon of crypto. What I mean by that is what does Emblem Vault do? It takes digital assets, it puts it inside of a box, and it ships it across different blockchains. What does Amazon do? It takes items, puts it in a box, and ships it from one place to another. Right? That's the same thing with like, what does a shipping container do, right? It puts assets inside of a shipping container that puts it on a boat and ships it between countries, right? That's what Emblem Vault is at the end of the day. And so you could see this world, which is going to take a while to build out, where Emblem Vault becomes this shipping layer. And if this is the case, then you could see literally thousands of these things being transacted per day across all of these different chains in an interoperable future. And at that point in time, to decentralize Emblem Vault, you're going to have to stand up nodes to verify or to truly decentralize the product across all of these different chains. And so keys would have obviously a huge impact in that. That's going to take years to do. And that's the vision that we have. But to me, that's why I think Emblem Vault could be literally one of the most valuable companies in the entire crypto industry, is because if you look at the international and if you look at the combined GDP of the international and domestic shipping industry across the world, it's 7.5% of global GDP, which comes out to about $10 trillion. So crypto obviously is a disruptor. And so if, in this interoperable crypto future, you could see that market being much larger than that, which is even crazy to even say. And Emblem Vault obviously being the key player and the creator of that industry will have, a large stake in that market share. It's just, it's a little bit early, but the reason why we did it on Bitcoin is because, final point here, we believe that Bitcoin is an export chain. Most assets on Bitcoin are being wrapped into other ecosystems or being leveraged through these like execution environments, which we kind of see as the same thing. Whether you're taking an ordinal or whether you're taking runes to an exchange, or whether you're taking a rare Pepe into Emblem Vault, or whether you're taking ordinal into Arch Network, or taking Dog into ICP. So that's all Tether, right? That's all
the biggest one, yeah.
It's all being exported into another area. And so for us, being able to export keys into all these different ecosystems is really important. And most Bitcoin assets are going to have that future. And we believe that Emblem Vault is that export layer, as well as a lot of other assets that are going to be moved around. So you got to be in it for the long term with us here if you think that we're long-term players. And we have solutions. And I think the first thing to figure out for keys is kind of what's the best liquidity environment to put it in, right? Is it an exchange? Is it a Dotswap? Is it an Arch network, right? Is it an Alkanes? We'll find out a little bit more, but we do have conversations ongoing on the back end to figure out what's the best implementation for that. And then the utility will come as the Bitcoin ecosystem grows. And we do have to go through a handful of distributions to Runestone, to Pizza Ninjas. Those are just two communities that we announced will be getting like a free airdrop. It'll actually probably be much more of like a claim process actually through migrate.fund. So, which works out pretty well, right? So,
For sure.
using our own products to leverage all of that stuff. And there are a lot more communities. I think the goal here for keys is that we have 20% of the founder vaults opening in September. Then you have 15% of the Covol migration opening up in October. And then we'd like to distribute, probably 10% of the supply to different Bitcoin communities by the end of the year. So the goal would be to have like 50% of the token distributed by the end of the year. And then at the top of next year to launch like an actual rewards program, similar to like what we're going to do with Agent Hustle, but for our Bitcoin community. And kind of final point here, between the two tokens, Keys and Hustle, there's not going to be much crossover. I would consider them completely different projects. Obviously, all the other applications are built with the Emblem Vault tech stack. And eventually we will integrate Agent Hustle into the Emblem Vault tech stack. But for just simplicity, I would just consider them completely different projects.
Yeah, kind of like how Google and then YouTube, right? They're two separate entities, right, at the same time. So 100%. We got so Soul Maverick says, "Wow, y'all tokenizing everything. We need to package it all and send things across chains. Love the vision." Yeah, 100% too, because like everyone's building bridges, but no one's building bridges for NFTs or non-fungibles, right?
It's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
One of the few people doing it.
Yeah, there's a handful of products that have popped up for NFTs, and Mav is also like one of our biggest traders on Agent Hustle. So if you need some Agent Hustle alpha, he's definitely the one to reach out to. Yeah, Emblem Vault created the NFT bridge, hitting mainnet in 2020, but the idea was from 2016. We've seen a few competitors; they've all kind of really died out, and I think like Layer 0 hasn't cross-chain NFT standard. We've seen some teams try to do this, but it is very difficult for NFTs because there's this social layer to it. And there's also this just like technology layer, right? The liquidity is low. So you got to be in it for the long term. With Bitcoin assets specifically, right? You got to know the communities. You got to know the in and outs. You got to also have the adoption. So for the best thing to ever happen to Emblem was essentially Rare Pepe becoming the first application layer on top of Emblem, right? And because we're now unified together, probably forever, that gives a lot of TVL and adoption and credibility to Emblem to then go and export that. And we love the Rare Pepe community and Emblem Vault, kind of the technology itself. We've built Emblem 2.0 and it's live. We have deployed it on ETH mainnet for Taproot Wizards. So that was kind of the first kind of thing through the door. And then, hopefully towards the end of the year, we'll be expanding Emblem to all of these other chains. The reason why we kind of held off a little bit is just the interest really died off. We were talking with a lot of these different chains about bringing over ordinals and stuff, and those communications kind of stalled out and the AI stuff really took off. And so, in this industry, you got to be able to pivot attention and pivot your kind of adoption at any given moments on it. So Stan says, has Agent Hustle had any hackathon events? If not, any dates? No hackathon events. We did sponsor the first Solana AI hackathon from the Emblem Vault brand. Kind of learned a lot there, but no hackathon events now. We are working with a variety of teams to get Hustle integrated into their system. So I think the issue with Hustle right now is just a exposure game. We were kind of late to the Solana ecosystem, right? We've only been building there for 8 months now. And so we don't really have the credibility and brand reputation yet, for a lot of these larger accounts to start promoting the product. But I do think that changes here pretty soon through this first cohort of migrations that are going to go through migrate.fund, because we will, and we are working with some of the largest companies on Solana. That's all I'll say now until the marketing takes place.
Stan says, does it get the guest is an attention to detail savant. His depth of knowledge is uncanny. Then he says, does Jake hang out at any local pubs? Drink someone made, pick his brain.
Oh man. At first, Stan, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I live out here in Las Vegas. Believe it or not, I actually worked in the nightclub and day club industry for 10 years. I left Omnia nightclub, which was the #1 nightclub in the world, in 2020 to pursue crypto full time. And I had gotten crypto in 2016 and always wanted an opportunity to be in the industry full time, and took that leap, and it's been great ever since. Actually, yeah, I go out somewhat often, not as much recently as work has really picked up, but yeah, man, anytime you're out in Vegas, shoot me a DM, and happy to go get some drinks, and we could go hit the stripper downtown.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Also want to give a shout out to one of y'all's fans here. Was that Brotoshi?
Bratoshi.
Yeah, Bratoshi.
He's a big dog. He's a big dog.
Squash.
It says Squashiobodo. He's a really big dog holder, dog community member, but he's also, like Mav, one of our most active traders and prompters with Agent Hustle. So if you need any type of any type of education, or you have any questions in terms of how to prompt, he's definitely the guy to hit up. So kind of combination, really, really good dude.
And then last thing here, shout out to the third face of Emblem here. I know there's many faces of Emblem, but shout out to Chris Dev. We had him on for a couple Emblem hours. Come back, man. We'd like to have you back one session. But yeah,
Chad, dude.
He says conditional chads. Oh, so we're not chads all the time, only conditionally.
You're gonna have to get maybe you get Chris on next week. But when it comes to trading, that's somebody that you want to talk. Chris is really good at altcoins and directional narratives and stuff. He started trading stocks when he was like 5 years old. So now I think it was like 10 or 12 or something. But he'd be good to talk macro and trading and stuff.
Yeah, man. And the final question, Alien Tech, is Agent Hustle open or closed source? The easy question, right?
Yeah, it's closed source for now. There's kind of two things when it comes to, I guess you could say partial. I mean, like we have the Emblem SDK, which is open source, which is like the multi-chain wallets that are used in Agent Hustle. What's closed source is what's called a system prompt. It's basically like the constitution of Agent Hustle, and every agent has these. It's called the system prompt, where it's just like, for us, I think it's like 500 lines of literally human language that tells them different things and how to interact with different products and such. And this is something that's always being tweaked. I'd recommend looking into I think like Grok and a few other AI projects have open source their system prompt, but yeah, it's closed source for now.
Well, absolutely love it, man. Jake, thank you so much for your time today. And is there any final words for the audience before we let you go?
Use Agent Hustle. Lots of interest and opportunity there. If you're on Solana and you want to migrate, hit us up. We could dive through that experience. And yeah, prepare for keys in a few months. I think it's, one of the longest term bets that you could have if you're a long-term player and you kind of see the vision of, Emblem being the shipping layer of the entire crypto industry. We have the tools. Getting the resources has always been the biggest challenge, as we've struggled with selling the narrative to VCs, I guess you could say, although the community generally can see it. So lots of cool opportunities ahead. That's why we've built all of these products. And just check Agent Hustle and buy the Hustle token if you are super interested, or just shoot me a DM with any questions. Always happy to answer anybody.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jake.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good weekend.
You, man.
Take it easy.
Absolutely awesome, man. Really amazing show today, guys. From Raul to Jake to the news today. I mean, absolutely awesome. Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend for sure. This is, I mean, I got so much to take in. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely great, and what a great week. What a great way to finish the week from yesterday, and it's still not over. There's still that event of signing the Genius Act into law, so that's happening, I think, here in the next probably 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But we'll see what that does to the markets. But yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you guys, and shout out to Leo as well. He came by the chat there, and we got 832 people that checked out this stream. So appreciate each and every one of you guys. Without you guys, we could not do this. But also without our partners, we couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we greatly appreciate it. Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator swap for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to swap for runes or alkanes, you got to do it at Sats Terminal. It's a decentralized approach. They're an aggregator, so they're going to find you the most liquid and cheapest tokens. Also, you're going to be able to earn Amber points, and Amber points are going to go towards a give back to early adopters. So head over to satsterminal.com, join their Discord. Their team is ready to answer any questions that you guys have. And then Emblem Vault, we just talked on them, so I'll hit on them real quick. We just talked about them for about an hour. Emblem is the interoperability tooling layer of the Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem. Really, you're going to be able to jump your ordinals from Bitcoin to Ethereum. Right now, you could do that with the Taproot Wizard collection there, and you can actually do that with any NFT collection, even Rare Pepes, but all ordinals, of course. But you can actually bridge it over to Ethereum. In the future, they're looking to add more ecosystems like possibly Base, Solana, and stuff like that. So really cool. And hopefully you're going to be able to use Agent Hustle to help you do that in the future. They're looking to add the Bitcoin tech stack to Hustle, but right now you can use Hustle, as you just saw, for conditional trading on Solana, for advice in terms of just data, right? Giving you feedback in terms of possibly safe plays and stuff. But remember, use Hustle as a tool. You're an adult, and so you got to make that final decision. But it is amazing, and you can use Hustle right now as it is free. Right. So you want to go over there and check that out at agenthustle.ai. And don't forget, they have their TGE coming up in, I believe, October of this year, maybe September, actually. But you can actually purchase a pre-sale NFT there, and you will get the runes in a Bitcoin wallet that's locked in these vaults, and they'll be able to unlock those as the TGE comes. Head over to emblem.vision with all that information there for you guys to jump into. And then Artura.finance is the DEX aggregator platform. Sorry, not DEX aggregator platform. I got that confused. The perps, it's been a long one today. The perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. There you go. Make sure you guys are
It's live.
Okay, so they are live right now, guys. So you can actually head over there, and right after we're done with this, we're gonna work some more, and we're gonna put together a tutorial video for you guys on how to get started. It's real simple. So make sure you're checking that, looking out for that. But head over to Artura.finance. You can log in. They are live on Botonics, which is the spider chain. It is a Bitcoin layer 2. You can swap for PUSD, but we're going to show you guys how to do that in that tutorial video. The plan is for them to add Bitcoin fungibles. I know that there's hints of dog possibly coming soon, so that's going to be really exciting for me because I'm looking for a place to trade dog because I think it's going to go up. Anyways, make sure you check it out. They have an awesome Discord with the awesome community, Artura.finance. Check them out. And then Fluid Tokens. Fluid Tokens is the UTXO wizard devs. We talked to Raul today. Those guys are crushing it. They are building support for runes and alkanes. Right now, you can actually utilize their airdrop tool for both of those standards. You can have two options with that, as we went over it today. One, upload a CSV file, and you'll have all of your airdrop recipients' addresses on there. Or two, just do it manually. It's really simple, and it is all Bitcoin layer 1. So really, really cool stuff. And don't forget, they have that season 3 of, I think he hinted at it, but you're going to be able to stake runes and earn alkanes, and vice versa, stake alkanes and earn runes. So really cool there. Head over to their Discord if you want to get a staking vault set up. Also, for the Cardano people, you can participate in their Aquarium platform by adding liquidity there. You can earn Babel fees. They also have an automatic payment system that's set up for if any builders want to pay their developers in ADA, right? So really, really cool. Head over to fluidtokens.com to learn more about them. And then you got Tokyo Wallet, the multi-chain smart wallet. They're building for the best UI and UX in the space. If you have an iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store. If you have a Android, head over to the Google Play Store. They have support for Bitcoin. They have support for Cardano and Sui. And there's going to be more that's coming, guys. So if you're looking to swap for runes, you can do it directly in there using SAS Terminal because they've partnered, and SAS Terminal is the aggregator within the app there. Same thing on the Cardano side, they partnered with Dex Hunter. So make sure you guys go check that out. You can find us on the app. That is how much of a one-stop shop this is. There's an alpha section there. Head over to Tokyo.io. Also, make sure you're keeping your eyes open for the new segment that's starting this week, partnered with us. It's going to be a show that's going to start this week with Tokyo. It's going to be Tuesday, I believe 7 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah, yep, 100%.
Check that out, guys. And then Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through AI. They have their AI tool, which is called the Wizard 0.3, which actually is an expert in the Merlin Chain ecosystem. So any questions regarding Merlin Chain, ask it. And then the version 4 is coming up, and you're going to be able to ask questions cross chain, like who's the biggest well on BSC. It's going to be able to give you their wallet and all the tokens they're holding, so you can easily copy them, right? But that's for you to decide to do. And it can also act as it can do DeFi actions for you on your behalf as well, like swapping and staking. And speaking of staking, you can help secure the chain, help secure Merlin Chain's security there with 3 options to proof of stake there. Bitcoin being the first one. You stake Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. It's a 8 to 21% APR, averages out to about 16%. That is locked up until September 30th if you decide to do so. And then they have 2 options for the Merlin Chain token, which is the flexible, which is a day-to-day. It does take a 7-day cool-off period when you do withdraw that. So just know that you earn 15% on the day-to-day. You can withdraw your rewards every day. So that's really cool feature there. And then the bonded is a 6-month lockup, 45% APR. But again, you can withdraw your rewards every single day. Head over to merlinchain.io. Lastly is our guys from Ordinal Hive, aggregator Ordinal Marketplace. Check them out. Cheapest Ordinals around will be at Ordinal Hive, or is at Ordinal Hive. And you can utilize their trading tools as well. Thank you guys so much for checking us out, and hope you have a great weekend.
Yep. Great job, man. As always, if you guys have some time, wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io. It wasn't working for me. My computer's kind of messed up on some sites. It's really weird. But yeah, check out onchainrevolution.io. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you guys want to catch up very quickly, just go article to article. They're very easy reads. Check them all out, guys. And if you guys want a VPN, I highly recommend a VPN, guys. If you don't have one, you go get one. There's free ones out there, but if you want Nord for $3 a month, go to our website, click our link, and that'll take you to the discount page at Nord and give you guys $3 a month. Lock it in for 2 years, because if you lock it in for 3 months, what's going to happen is when you go back, you sign in with that same email, they're going to force you to pay $11. Lock it in for 2 years, guys. Use that coupon code for sure. And if you guys need merch right now, with the base app, you can now buy on Shopify. We are on Shopify, so definitely check that out. If you can buy all our merch right now in USDC, US, whatever, any stablecoin you want that's on base, you can pretty much buy. I think you can even buy it in ETH. So check out all of our stuff, guys. Hoodies, hats, jackets, and so much more. And guys, remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow, until Monday.
Peace.
OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear traps. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.